Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in as we have Jeff Selver here. We're going to hear an incredible life of ET experiences. It's going to be a good one, and you guys are going to love it. I love this type of show where we get into the true experiences of what's going on, and we're delivering that tonight. Little Timmy James is in studio tonight. He'll be back in hour 3 for the UFO report. Let's say hello to each and every one of you. We have Eternity Eternal in the gold medal position. Race fan, finally back on the board with a silver. Attorney at large, Michael Morris with the bronze medal tonight. Kitty Caddywhack, how are you? Chris 716, nice to see you. Robert Lamoth, and Necessary Dialogue. Good to have you both here. As we continue on with our roll call, there's Karen in the Woo Train and Mama Catherine. Mwah! I love you, Mama Catherine. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day as we continue on. Oh, in the chat room, Little Timmy James. How you doing? Good to see you. Literally, good to see you. Yeah. All right. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want any of that rigidness. It's uncomfortable, especially when you're talking about alien abduction. So lube us up, Mel. Lube us up. Kurt M., nice to see you. Jaquetta, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with roll call. Miriam is here. Miriam, for the first time, will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. I'm Hardcore over on X. Ozzy, what in tarnation is back? And Carol Amerio, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kitty, for kicking off this super chat tonight. It is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you, Kitty, very, very much. Delilah, how are you? Skip to Malou, good morning to you. Jay Truthseeker. And Algaray over on Twitch, so excited for Jeff tonight. Did 4,000 sit-ups in 7 minutes. You know how fast he was going? Wow. April R. Coleman, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. Real Alien Encounters, how are you? Matthew Goodka, good to see you. Hillbilly Herb, thanks for coming on in. Kimberly Burgess, how are you, my dear? You're probably going to have to stop by my work one of these days. I need one of those famous Kimberly hugs. I love them. Hope you're having a great night. All right, JMJ12, how are you? Thanks for coming on in. Operation Shutdown. Kevin Kennedy, thanks for both of you coming on in. Tim Mothman and his goatee are here. Yeah, they're going hard. American Culture, second night in a row. How are you? Thanks for coming on in. And who's next? Well, nobody right now because they're still trying to figure out how to switch over shows from UFO Max. Destiny Rocks is here. Destiny Rocks will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Oh, I love it. Jaquetta says, sit-ups that fast? Are you sure he wasn't having a seizure? That is awesome. Algaray over on Twitch, can you confirm if you were having a seizure or not? We'd appreciate it. Susan Lawrence, how are you? Nice to see you. Oh, my goodness. Brooke Michelle, we're already flying off the handles here. We haven't even really started. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right. Oh, goodness. Goodness. By the way, just to warm you all up, Tim James has been editing episode 5 of something or Secrets of the Forest. And let me tell you, it's eerie. Oh, is it eerie? Vanessa, how are you, my dear? Warden Dragon, nice to see you. And let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us in as we're going to talk with Jeff Selver, who has literally had ET encounters all over the province of British Columbia. It's going to be great. We are in roll call on our YouTube side right now. Tristan MB, how are you doing as we continue on with our roll call? And now we wait again. We wait. Bombshell Bomber, how are you, my dear? Once again, the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Walter Kochabinski, how are you? And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And it is that time of the night where I ask all of you to throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show about ET contact tonight. Jeff Selver out of Vancouver, British Columbia will join us to tell us his personal story. If you're ready for it, it's going to begin very, very soon. Then in hour number 3, we are going to have Swamp Dweller kick things off. Then little Timmy James will be in studio, finally, for the UFO report. So let's get right to it, shall we? Jeff Selver has an MBA and a passion for management and leadership. Jeff has worked at banks, corporate training as a motivational speaker, and teaching mindful leadership. He has been under the tutelage of a Vedic teacher for over 20 years, where he learned Vedic philosophy and meditation. When his memories of alien contact came out, Jeff literally began presenting on his contact events in UFO groups, sharing his story in detail and providing research and corroboration with other experiencers. He resides in Vancouver, British Columbia. He's been taken all over the province, whether it's up north in Prince George, on Vancouver Island, in the Lower Mainland, or even having an experience right here in the same town SOR headquarters is. Let's bring him on. Jeff Selver, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It is great to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Good, Dave. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love being on Spaced Out Radio, so thanks for bringing me on.
I'll just hit you right between the nose or between the eyes with this one. What's it like being an ET contactee for those who wouldn't understand?
It's got its challenges, that's for certain. It's not a ride for the faint of heart. Most people don't believe you, so you're up against that. And And the reality is the phenomenon is in control, and they, I just finished reading Jacques Vallée's Dimensions, and he does a really good job at providing a good, oversight of the phenomenon and its confusing aspects. And one of them is that the absurdity is a part of the phenomenon, and it seems to drive people away, right? So the researchers, the phenomenon has been here for such a long time, but it's been actually pushing people away, not drawing people in. So, Flatwoods Monsters, the story of the Flatwoods Monster is too bizarre for the public. So they hear about it, but they don't really want to delve into it all the way. So then it becomes, a TV show or a TV or a newspaper reference, and that's it. And that's an example of it. Like, the phenomenon bugs the mind of the human. And so as a contactee, there's always something that you're up against, that the phenomenon itself does. Like leaving lack of evidence is a good example of that. And so you're interacting with it, even presently and personally, but it will not, it's leaving enough evidence for me to verify what's happening to myself. And it might leave evidence enough for someone who knows how to identify that evidence, but, like filmed craft. But other than that, it's not enough sometimes for the hardcore scientist or for the politician. So you're always left on the fringes, and it seems to be the way it's designed. So that's actually a hard place to be in for a logical person. And so, that's the gist of it. It is good to talk about your personal experiences. And so there is the therapeutic aspect of it, but yeah, it's got its challenges. Let's say that.
How did you find out you were an ET contactee?
From them being in my environment. So it happened in 2019, and so I've detailed all that information out. It's I'll mention the book. I have the book, but the point of mentioning the book, so people don't think I'm the quote unquote grifter, it's just the record, right? So all the information is there. I don't make anything up in my head. I've all documented everything. And so that information is laid out in the book. And it's safe to say that I had a consciousness event happen, a very strange set of events happen in 1997 that launched me to go traveling. When I left to go traveling, I started seeing orbs and objects in the sky. That was about 2.5 years. That's the whole period where I was having contact all over BC. And then that ended. And when traveling ended, the orbs ended. And then there was like this period of my life for 20 years where I didn't really, think about that ever again. There were some traumatic things about it, and there were some reasons I didn't want to think about it. 2019 rolls around, and I'm thinking hard about that period. What the hell was that all about? Because, I never found answers for it, and it still kind of was with me to that day. And then I just, lo and behold, went down the avenue of, it was Jeremy Corbell's documentary on Bob Lazar that had me open that door. And I started watching a YouTube channel of videos online of people's anomalous objects. When that happened, my objects I saw traveling came back. When that happened, it started to interact with me. And it was the one having me look at, you can say through telepathy, I guess. Now that's being accepted from Jake Barber, that's a normal thing, that you can have telepathy from these objects. It was the one saying, hey, there's these memories you have. And I didn't know screen memories, and I didn't know those things at the time. And it had me actually, the point is that I had the screen memory, and I went back to the location over in Coquitlam in BC here of that screen memory. And I could feel for the first time ever that something had happened in that location. It's actually Mundy Park in Coquitlam. And that something happened in that location that was not in my normal memory, and I could feel the displacement, the reality that something else had occurred there, and I'd been lured out. I could feel something friendly had lured me out, and so it was the first time I'd ever had like a weird feeling of displacement of one set of memories that I thought occurred versus another set of memories that actually occurred, and that was the first time I touched the feeling of what it feels like to be in their presence. And or like my conscious mind, I guess you could say. And when that happened, it started to unravel the rest. And that was a slow process. But again, that's all laid out in the book. But yeah, it's some time it took to put it all together. But the day was July 1st, 2019.
those days, those memories are always etched in our mind. I can remember the day I changed. It was December
Yeah.
13th, 2011,
Right.
7:45 p.m. I
Right.
mean, it just burns
Yeah.
into your memory exactly what happened. What
Yeah.
did you believe prior to this? Were you a UFO guy? Did you believe in any of this, or were you like, "Hey, I'm interested in these topics, but they're kind of out there. They're kind of fun to watch." What were you like before?
Yeah, that's just the best way to frame it. I'd actually grown up, believing in mysteries, or the kind of mysteries of the unknown. As a kid, I was into Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot and ghosts, and UFOs were just a part of that. And it was actually at the age of 16 that I read Whitley Strieber's books, and that was it. It was, I think, 3 books of his at the time. In the 1993 to 1997, I'd read Communion, Transformation, and maybe another, I can't remember. And that was it. That was it. And then I traveled and I focused on, channeled material, spiritual material at the time. And then I had the guru. And once I had the Vedic teacher, I just abandoned or left all of this. Yeah, I focused on kind of music and a career, and then I had this spiritual outlet through the guru, through the Vedic teacher. So I didn't look into this at all, and I did consider it. It's just people make up theories. I think Ancient Aliens does a really bad job at selling, this topic, and the reality is that it's one of the most mainstream mainstream TV shows. And it's such a weird idea because it's so hokey. And that's what ends up in your head when you start thinking about aliens. At least it was back, before the Pentagon started admitting some of the stuff. But yeah, that was my mind frame. I didn't really take it too seriously. I thought people were making, they're stretching is what it was. People would stretch. I believed that something was going on, but there wasn't enough evidence for it. And then I thought people were just stretching their truths out to make a good TV show or a good book. So
As you started to dig into your own personal history with this, did you talk to people around you saying, "I think this happened to me," or were you pretty silent on it to try and keep it to yourself?
yeah, yeah, you're extremely uncomfortable. So I was definitely private with it. Yeah. And it's also uncomfortable too, because I think without having the full memory set at the time, I was aware it was going to be uncomfortable. I knew that the story would be uncomfortable. The amount of information would be uncomfortable about myself if I told people about it. So, because it's just vulnerable. That's the bottom line. You're just, with the aliens, are more vulnerable than you are with normal humans. So the whole thing would be extreme for me as a person who's an introvert as well too. So yeah, I actually even delayed telling my wife and my friends until I was certain, until I had a way of framing and articulating it. So I didn't even know what I was getting into. I didn't know the degree that these things flying around my house, the degree of the relationship, the bond. I didn't understand how far this was going to go. And it's really uncomfortable to be saying things like, "I'm certain I have alien DNA," and to say that, because it's a crazy bonkers thing to say. But I have, distinct moments in the contact events of feeling that bond with them, feeling that DNA bond. And so for me, it's like a validated thing. But, out when you start pushing that realm out, it's uncomfortable to say that. But not just that, it answers why they're around, because people also can't figure that part out too. They can't figure out why you, right? Why you, and why not a politician or a scientist? And even your family thinks that way. And never mind your family being confused why you didn't believe, why didn't you know this before? And you have to get into this to figure the answers out. And they're not interested in that. So then, yeah, you're private about it. You're private about it, and you're slowly finding people. And I found a guy at work, and then eventually I had 2 or 3 buddies who I could confide in at work. And they became my close buddies through this whole entire process. And then I found a UFO group. And that's where it all started. I was basically like, I need to tell someone. And they were like, okay, eventually come on down and tell us your story. And then they got it. They got that this was something unique. This was something big, and it had to be told. And then they gave me the complete space to tell it. And so over several years, actually, they gave me the space to tell every single one of my contact events in as much detail as I wanted. And that was actually Vancouver UFO, the UFO group here in Vancouver, actually called Vancouver UFO. And that was it, though. So I didn't like the whole family thing. I couldn't really divulge it too much. They didn't want to hear about it. They didn't understand it. And then the work friends, and that was it. And then otherwise, it was really private. And yeah, that it was like that for years. Actually, that's how it kind of unfolded.
I'm interested in hearing how you broke this to your wife, because and the reason why is there are a lot of people out there listening who've had encounters.
Yeah.
They may listen to this show because it's their little secret thing that they do for themselves, because they've had an experience. They don't know where to go. They don't know where to turn or who to talk to.
Yeah.
And they have a loved one at home.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to have that conversation. Explain how that conversation went for you.
Okay. So let's say, well, okay, it's not one conversation. That's probably the best way to frame that. When I did it with her, there were friends there. So it was kind of a group thing. And I think the idea here is that I got my own guidance internally within that love prevails. So that was the most important part, that I was actually terrified. It was not terrified, but I was scared it was going to destroy my friendships and my relationship with my wife. And I got love prevails. So, and we love each other. So that was the big one. And I knew we loved each other. So, and I wasn't certain how this was going to change me. I actually didn't want to think about that, but I wasn't certain how this was going to reorientate my frame of reference of reality. And then what that meant for me as a spiritual person, or what that meant for me as a person who follows this, Vedic teacher and stuff, and Vedic guru. And so, yeah, it was actually a pretty big deal. And I'm not really clear that I think the bottom line is I had to come from compassion on their side. And I do agree that there's probably should have been compassion on my side, but these ideas, like the phenomenon, at the end of the day, I couldn't stop but think that the phenomenon itself was responsible for this, right? Like, and yet, so I had to take a weird stance about it, where, like, because it wasn't providing evidence for them. It wasn't coming around my house, and it was flying around for me, and I could see it and I could film it, but it wasn't flying around for her, and it wasn't flying around for both of us. Though at times she's seen it and she doesn't know what she's looking at. So it's a weird game of I have to, if I'm going to go down this path, I have to swallow that it's not going to reveal itself the way I want it to. But I'm actually convinced we're all going to, the only reason I would do this and sacrifice or make that kind of sacrifice that's really hard for a relationship that you love, is that I know it's going to reveal itself in a big way to the public really soon. And I've only been right about that. So that's what's happening is I went down to contact in the desert, and I've gone, this is my second time I went, and from the telepathy tapes, I forget her name. Sorry. The woman, the scientist, the main scientist who did all the telepathy work that the podcaster, focused on, and I forget her name. Powell is her last name. And but my friend and my wife knew her, and so that added credibility to me going down there. And they were like, "Oh, wait, what was she doing there?" And because they know her from her autism work, and so credibility is slowly creeping into the public space, and more scientists or more and more politicians are taking the phenomenon seriously, because the people I love. It was the kooky stuff. It was the woo-woo, right? And even if it wasn't woo-woo, it was the terrifying. Because even I've had, why don't they look differently? Why don't they look appealing? Why are they telling you these scary messages? And so I'm having to deal with that. And I agree with her on those elements, that it is actually challenging. And so I think love prevails is the big thing here. And I have to have compassion on her side, that this was pushing her and challenging, and the phenomenon wasn't making it easy for me either. And I had to be okay, at least for the time being, with the outlets that I had. So yeah, the UFO groups, the podcasts, any friends I could make.
Yeah.
And I actually also, relied on the entities directly, just for that consoling. And I don't know how to say that, but it's kind of strange that these entities are flying around my house and I'm able to, interact with them. So they kind of become friends in that process. And I know that sounds strange, but
Did your wife believe you right off the bat?
What's that?
Did your wife believe you right off the bat?
Well, they knew something. They always known about the 1997 event. That was spoken about from day one when I met her. And it was also spoken about to the friends I met in Toronto when I finally when I followed her and found this guru. I was talking about it for years. And I actually was traumatized by it, and I was crying about it, and they didn't understand it. And I was, my private moments with them, I'd be like bawling about it, and they wouldn't understand what's going on with me. And I'm like, this thing happened to me, and I don't understand it. And of course, it's all tied to this. And so for them, they've always known something weird happened in my past. Not just that, we saw a UFO the night we met. And there's a whole, when you read my story, the entities are the ones who brought me to her, who would end up bringing me to a guru who kind of helped me with this larger thing that they did with me. And so there's a whole kind of trail of events that they kind of aligned. And she was kind of just, a pawn, not a pawn, but, an element of that, I guess. And so we saw a UFO, and it was mentioned in our, when we got married, we have a very magical story. It's actually very spiritual and very powerful, filled with synchronicities, how we met. And I was traveling at the time, and so she was traveling, and so we were two lovers who met while traveling. And so it's a very beautiful story, and all these synchronicities were involved, and so that becomes a part of my book. And so we wrote about how we met, and I wrote the UFO into the story, and it was given to all the people at our wedding, and it was kind of this little scroll. So the UFO is actually in the scroll, and all these years later, it's what's disturbing to them, or to my wife, is to reframe the past. And that's what I had to do. I had to reframe my past. So there's a conflict going on where she doesn't want to reframe the past. These are spiritual events. I don't want to now call these gray aliens. And so it's not like she didn't believe me. It's more that she didn't want to go down the rabbit hole. And there actually was a perceptual frame of, I don't want to see it that way. And I don't want to alter what happened and change it into this other thing. And I had to, because it made everything make sense all of a sudden, made my entire life make sense. But so it's not that she didn't believe me. It's that she didn't want to make it what it turned out to be. 26 contact events with gray aliens, talking about the future, talking about humans, and talking about alien DNA and all that stuff. And so it's like that. It's not that she didn't believe me, because actually they do believe me. They believe something happened. They just don't know what it is. And they don't want to go down the rabbit hole to figure out what it is. This isn't bothering me or interacting with me. You do your thing. I'll do my thing. And yeah, you can tell me about it every now and then, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you. And so that's technically what's the state we're in. And actually, the real truth is for anyone who's married in this world, what you really get is that it's kind of okay to have your own spaces about these things, right? We both have our own hobbies, you can kind of call it, and that's what it kind of turned into is a hobby. And we still have our beautiful conversations about spirituality and everything that's important in our lives, and that doesn't disturb that. So that's how it ended up. Yeah.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Jeff, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to warm things up. When we come back on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to get into Jeff's contact encounters. Now, one of the big things that people say is, if he's having contact encounters, wouldn't he be more scared? Wouldn't he be less aware of what's going on instead of talking so matter of fact? We'll get to that as well on Spaced Out Radio. ET Encounters. It's a real deal. We're going to find out next with guest Jeff Selver. All right, we are clear. Good start, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Great questions. Yeah, this is the real deal stuff. So
You guys aren't getting music on. Can you check? They're not, apparently, they're not getting music. Music should be going through. No.
when is disclosure? I don't think it happens like that. I don't think there's a date yet. I don't think it's going to work like that.
Yeah. All right. Let's say hello to Joe and Scott Rosen. How are you? It's weird because the music is playing on this end.
Yeah, I don't hear
know
music
why
either.
it isn't playing through. Oh, I hate this system. Let's see if we can figure it out. Let's try that. Yeah, and I've got the audio. Okay, let's try this. All right, bring that down here. Jeff, can you talk for me for a quick
Sure.
sec, please?
Testing. Check,
Okay.
check.
Perfect.
Testing.
Let's try
Gray aliens.
right. So let's just do this for a quick second. So that's on that one. Turn that up.
How do I think it will happen?
Wait,
Okay, go for
we'll
it.
take questions from the audience in hour 2.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I
Just
can
bear
see
with
her.
me here. Gray Owl, how are you? Political Foolishness. Good to see you. And I think we're caught up on people. All right. John Smith, welcome to SOR Chat. No, we're not going to play some Eminem. Benno, how are you?
Oh, it's Benno from Oz. Yeah, good to see you, Benno.
All right, why is this? Just bear with me here. Okay, that's going through there. Why are we not getting audio this way? All right. Did you guys hear that?
Still not on my side. I can't hear it.
What the hell is going on here? All right, we are clear. Good start, Jeff. John Jackson, how are you? No audio. Why do we not get audio here? Settings, audio. Try this. All right. Why are we not getting this? Oh. levels are good there.
Carp Ontario case. The carp. What was that? The carp Ontario case.
No, it would be something in the back. It's something obviously that's not getting through to Spreaker today. I don't think it's Spreaker. I think it's something internal again. Clicked off.
Oh yeah.
All right, big thank you tonight to Kitty Caddywhack, Maggie, and Deborah Rooney for the super chats. Hi, Runa. How you doing? Hope you're having a great night here. Just bear with us on the audio portion, guys. Don't forget to shop at our Space Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. Here we go. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone tuning us in, and remind you that all of our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We have Jeff Selver here. He's hanging on out, telling us all about his UFO/alien encounters, and we're going to get to the real deal here momentarily. Jeff, critics of people like you, of me, one of the things that they say is, how can you talk so matter-of-factly about it? It sounds like you're making it up. There's no emotion. There is no care in the world. It's like you're reading off a script, telling a story rather than what really happened to you. How do you deflect that type of criticism?
Interesting. So, okay. Well, first off, these happened 20-something. Most of them happened 20-something years ago. And in the moment, I mean, yeah, you're in that state. But so you have to know what they did with me, too. You have to understand that. And the problem is that most humans don't understand that. So what they did is the first contact event. So I saw the afterlife on Craft. And it's a reorientation of yourself. And these guys are in the unified field. And when you don't know that, you don't experience that yourself, then they become a projection of what you're fearing inside yourself. And so have you ever noticed that people can be terrified of the entities when the entities aren't doing anything? And they're terrified, they're in the bedroom, or they're terrified. And I've heard people say things like, it was the most terrifying entity I'd ever seen. And you're like, well, what did it do? It sat in the corner. And what's happening is they're projecting out, right? It's like what a ghost does, right? Like, technically, a ghost does the exact same thing. Ghosts project out you project out onto the ghost, because technically a ghost is just an invisible person. Why are you terrified? But the person is terrified because the presence of the ghost initiates something of the psyche in the human. And that's exactly what happens to humans in alien contact. But you should see that's the whole story. What you look at what they did with me, and they turn it all inside out. So they turned me into an orb, and I experienced myself to be a consciousness entity at the age of 16 in their presence. And that flipped it all around. So I was no longer scared of them. And it doesn't mean they're not intense. It doesn't mean they can't still do crazy things. But the relationship was immediate, because once you're in unity with something, you're not scared of it anymore. even if it's a terrifying looking face, you get it. You say, oh my God, I know what you're doing. I know what level you're on. I know where you're coming from. I know what your intentions are. I know how you're thinking about me. I get it all. And that's the state that they put me into, and that they put me into with them. And so it's the opposite. I was in love with these guys, and it's the exact opposite. And it doesn't mean it doesn't have intensity. I still can get that rush of intensity, even from having them come too close, and they can feel it and then they move away. But it's because it's a paranormal rush. It's a paranormal rush. I don't know how to frame it. It's the fact that these entities are like super duper powers, and you can feel it intuitively in their presence. So if you're not used to that, you project it out, and it's terrifying because it's going right into your heart. It's going into parts of you don't want to look at. But when you're comfortable with yourself in their presence with that, they're the best buddies. They're actually really funny and sweet, and that's the reality. Is they're actually very beautiful souls, but the human has got the problem here. It's actually the other way around, where they're not terrifying. It's the human who's got a frame of reference of us as physical tissue creatures that we have to fight our lives to be, right? We have to fight for careers and food and everything we do in our lives to sustain ourselves as a physical entity. And yet it turns out, near-death experiences, that's not what we are at all, right? And the human has to rewire themselves as they're going into the afterlife. Well, the entities, they live in that state. So then this is a whole reorientation. If you want to get on the good side with the entities, you learn what you really are. And you learn that you're not a physical tissue creature. You're a soul or an entity, a long living entity. And, you can say you're a dimensional entity like they are. And you have to know that. And that's the state you get into when you're in love with them. And so that's the reality. It's a whole story where that's what they did with me. And I created a relationship with them. And it's not like you can't still get that rush, because I still do live out a physical life, or a life where I have to adapt to that way we all do as humans, where you're living out a physical life, and you want to make sure you don't get hurt, or you're wanting to eat properly, or you'll need to sleep. So you're living out a life where you're kind of identifying as the body. And so, you still have that experience, but I'm grounded in my heart about the truth of the matter. And that grounding is because of what they did with me in the contact events, that I experienced the unified field with them in a very condensed and extreme way at the age of 16. And so it changed everything.
Who is taking you?
So I could actually answer a couple different perspectives of that. Who is taking me? I was with a main gray alien the entire time. Most of the time, there was some contact events that didn't have her, but she's the main gray alien I'm interacting with, but she's kind of like the face of it all. Who's behind her was the leader, this kind of mantis entity, this leader man. Yeah, this kind of controller species. But what's really at the top, I'm convinced of, is a quantum AI, some kind of God AI, so technically it was it. So, because I think it's controlling the craft, and then the craft is the one that's facilitating the environments, the dimensional environments, whether it's timelessness or whatever they're doing to interact with the human in our dimension or realm. The craft is responsible, and it's kind of an AI. It's kind of a God AI or a quantum AI. And so it's technically the one that's kind of taking me. But, the elder was the main face. And then there's the leader, who's kind of the architect of the contact events. So it's kind of a tier step, but the elder was the main entity I dealt with.
Were they the taller grays, the shorter grays?
The main entity I dealt with was like a 4-foot tall gray alien.
How did you know she was female?
In like telepathy, like in the presence. Yeah, she oozed this chiefdom. A chieftain, as if she's like a lawmaker in her society, some kind of like chiefdom, female, wise elder chiefdom. Yeah, and so I call her the elder. And it was a female essence. Yeah, definitely. Mother too is actually another one to frame her as like a motherly elder. Yeah.
Did she ever say why they chose you?
So part of the reason they show me the afterlife at the age of 16 is because I made an agreement, at least my higher self did, the oversoul did, my oversoul, and they showed that to me, and they showed it to me in a first person shared experience. So I became on the same level as this afterlife experience. And so they're showing me that my higher self made an agreement with them to do this experiment. And that's technically what it was, right? This is not a typical contact event. This isn't just them coming to my bedside, hanging out with me and telling me things, right? I was outside most of the time, and there was a linear track and a plan that they had, and they wanted to execute it. And so everything was very controlled and very, selective about what they were doing. And so, yeah, it was a plan. It was actually something that required my full commitment, not just brainwashing a physical tissue human brain, but it needed my soul's commitment. And so, yeah, my soul agreed to this whole thing back before I was born, you could say. Well, that's actually true. Yeah, before I was born. So in the afterlife is how I frame it. Yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, don't forget, I'm the MBA guy. I'm the financial MBA guy. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to say, because that's the funny part, because lying for me would be dumbing all that down just to make it swallow, to make it, to make the pill to be swallowed, because this stuff just goes out of it's actually the crazy part about that isn't that they did that. It's that they did that and there's everything else. There's the alien genetics. There's, dual identity concepts here. There's the fact that I have 26 of them, the fact that it happened outdoors and not beside your bed like everybody else. So there's all these things that make it so hard for the brain to swallow for humans when they're even digesting the book or kind of listening to the story. And, man, that is what the phenomenon is. The phenomenon is a brain breaker, and we can just go back hundreds of years and look at how they've been doing that. So, and I can't change that. That's what happened. And I know it to be fact. And I think that trips up humans too, is that, I've been meditating 20 something years, and I'm surrounded by people who are interacting maybe with their higher selves and highly intuitive. And I know I've seen things, forget the aliens. I've seen very powerful spiritual things like bilocation with my own eyes that have nothing to do with the aliens. So I live in a world where I'm secure of knowledge about what's true and what's not true about spirituality and the spirit. So these aren't trickery by the aliens. I know for fact my oversoul made an agreement with the gray aliens before I was born. So that's hard for people to swallow, but we'll get there eventually, and they'll look back at the story. I'll be like, okay, that was real. That guy was telling the story, the whole truth, and the whole thing. So, yeah.
You mentioned that this gray alien was working for a mantid being.
Yeah.
How did you learn about that?
That'll comes out in my 23rd contact event. I call it, right? I number all the contact events just to make sense of kind of each one, really. And it was at the end of the kind of grand experiment. So in my everyday life, it was after I came back from traveling, and now I met my wife, and now I was living in Toronto. And then they capped it off. So that I had one last contact event for that period. And out comes this mantis entity, or mantid. Now, he didn't look like a mantis bug to me, and I've always kind of mentioned this. He looks like an aardvark, actually, but he had the same kind of hands in the same space, and his eyes were on the side, and they're big yellow cat eyes with slits. So this is kind of a typical description, except for it doesn't have the bug feature. And this entity comes out, and it tells us, like, this is my program. You're all my children. This was all you did all this, and I was the architect behind it all. So he explains that. And in the end, it makes sense. It adds up. That's the kind of the bigger picture, that this was so complex that this idea that there was this overarching architect to the whole program or whole experiment adds up. And then I ended up learning there were other humans, and there were other versions of this experiment that other humans that had partaken in. There were other gray aliens who looked like my gray aliens. So there was kind of this idea that the species or the gray alien I was interacting with was actually herself part of a group who was being used to be the face for a whole bunch of other humans for this grand, program that was an experiment on their behalf. And I was just one of the participants.
Do you think that when they started taking you, that they had put you on some sort of mission rather than being taken for experimentation or downloads or anything? What do you think they were using you for?
So genetics is the core of it all. So yeah, they took my genetics. And when you see the detail of the story, it makes sense. So the gist of it is, yeah, I saw the afterlife. Okay, but it actually altered me. And it alters this body. It alters a body that is in this other state with them. And then they slowly, put that state or that consciousness dimensional state into the teenager. And slowly I'm altering. And there's my own record of that through journals at the time. And then it's all part of my story. And I put it all together in a book that's cohesive. But the bottom line is that I'm altering. And all that's happening is a spiritual quest on myself. So all I know is I'm having a spiritual story or spiritual experience at the time. And then the consciousness event happens, but in a specific detail about the consciousness event was that I had a biological change, and I'd always written about it. There's a journal that describes this weird effect of seeing the cells of my body had light in them. And then while traveling, I always remembered that I was super sensitive to impurities. Like I couldn't eat processed foods. So I was a vegetarian, and I ate very light, and I ate basic food without eating any processed foods. I healed quickly. I actually couldn't hike. I had a whole thing where I couldn't do a lot of heart straining. I couldn't hike up a hill. And so I had a whole physiological change from what had happened, not knowing at that point I was being used for biology. So that's the story, is that the first 7 contact events leading up to the consciousness event is actually friendly, and it's all spiritual development. Now you can say I've been deduced, or I've been seduced into this idea that it would become this spiritual thing. And oh my God, this is exciting. And I don't know, right? I'm a teenager, and it's all real. All the consciousness stuff is real. And then I get altered at the end of the 7th contact event. And now all the contact events after that are biological. So from their perspective, you can actually see that they're kind of like, great, we can't wait for this guy to turn into something different so we can start taking his biology. From my perspective, it was like a spiritual thing that I didn't know turned out to be biological. And so there is a flip to the story where that is what ends up happening. And then, but what the next level to that after all that is done is that I end up learning about their agenda, or at least their mission here, what they're doing, and the hybrids and why they're doing that. And then that ends up being a big part of the story for me too, is that I end up having some kind of future information that still to this day seems to be lining up, and seems to be, for me, it seems to be accurate. So there ends up being a big picture to everything that they wanted, that for me, looked spiritual at the time. That's when I almost got, you can say I got seduced as a teenager, seduced by the spiritual side of it. Oh, we'll help. How they have framed it is, we'll help you discover your soul. And I didn't know what it meant, but I did believe them, that I was bonded to them, that they actually said that themselves. They said, we want to do this to help grow one of our own. And they had done some things to demonstrate that I had their DNA in me, and I felt it and I believed it. So I trusted them. And then they developed me consciousness for 7 contact events, and I considered them friendly at the time. And to this day, I still consider them friendly, but there clearly was an overarching picture that I didn't know about at the time when I agreed to it all. So, yeah.
Okay, so how did you know that this was friendly advice you were getting?
Well, it's telepathic, and that's the big one. So, and don't forget, I mentioned, so the environment are unified environments. That's why the telepathy is there. The telepathy is actually easier than it is in a human environment. And so, their feelings are there, and they have feelings. They have telepathic feelings, and it's not just words. And so, yeah, I felt, she's showing me babies, gray alien babies. I felt her motherly love for them. She feels for them the way humans would feel for seeing babies. So, this wasn't just words. I could feel the things that were going on. And that's the case here. So there was definitely feelings. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. There's nothing said that was a lie or anything like that. It's more that if I didn't understand something, they just omitted telling me those details. And so that's basically how it all kind of rolled down, is that there's things that they omitted, and then I kind of got on board with that. But yeah, so that's it. It's a telepathic environment. That's not it's not an environment that you lie in because you can feel the other person. That's probably the way to frame that.
We got about 4 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. And Jeff Selver is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. How many times do you think you've been taken?
I know, including the childhood of 5 contact events, there's 26 from 16, from the age of 16 to an adult. There was 26. And then I have the additional 5 as a child. So there's 31. So 31 physical contact events where I'm interacting in their environments with them. Yeah.
Has it always been the same group that takes you?
No, actually, it hasn't been. Most of it, I'm 100% convinced was all, organized or the leader, the main facilitator, the main entity, the mantid type entity, definitely was aware of it all. I feel that was the case, but yeah, not always. No, there were other. I interact with humanoids, humanoid aliens, humans, aliens that look like humans. Yeah, and I've interacted with those and several different types, and I don't know anything about what species these are or what they are. And yeah, different types of gray aliens as well too. Yeah.
When you get taken, how do you know that you're having a vacation to go elsewhere?
Wait, what? Okay, I don't know what that question means.
Well, I mean, when you get taken, I guess I'm putting it facetiously.
Yeah.
Okay, like when I get taken or I know I'm about to get taken, I get a couple of signs.
Yeah.
Number one, I will, a couple days before, if you remember Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden you hear that real eerie voice say, "Is there anybody out there?"
Right. So
I will start hearing that in my head.
Right.
And that's how I know that something is going to be happening.
Right.
But when I am taken, I usually am sleeping. I'm usually in a dream state. Right. And how I know it turns from a dream to reality is I start feeling the gravitational pull, like I'm being sucked out of my dream.
Right.
And then it's all of a sudden bye-bye birdie land.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I can't speak for that. I don't have a contact events like that. So everything was perfectly placed to facilitate this grand thing, right? This experiment that they did, the results of the experiment for themselves, giving me information that I would eventually share with the public. And then, telling me they're the ones who told me to write the book, right? So they're the ones who want that information out and made public and kind of in the public sphere. So that's the last where the contact event ended. The last one I've had was like that was 2017. So that happened here. And I can't say that I knew it was going to happen. I wasn't aware I had contact at the time. I was left with marks, but I thought it was paranormal. I had no idea I was having alien contact. And everything now, I can be communicated to by them through dreams and through telepathy. And I visually see the crafts, and I see them regularly, and I saw them just a couple nights ago. But yeah, I'm not taken since I haven't been interacted in their environments since 2017.
Why'd they shut you down?
For me, they do everything with a purpose, and I have all my memories. So that's the other twist too, right? Like, I'm not, you have to, I don't know. I think maybe I don't have the answer to that. And it's not like I'm actually craving for that either. I actually enjoy the setup. I listen, man, it was intense. I'm not saying that, contact wasn't intense. It was definitely intense, but I'm happy with them flying around my house and telepathically talking to them. That's good enough. Until we're actually,
we're going to get into that telepathy in a little bit more afterwards, but I know a lot of people who've been shut down, for a lack of a better term,
right.
And most people are wondering, why me? Why did I go from having these amazing experiences to all of a sudden nothing? And it kind of plays with their mind a little bit. But we'll get into that in hour number 2. Yeah. Jeff Selver is our guest tonight. We're going to get into his telepathic communication with extraterrestrials next. All right, my friend, we are clear. I'm going to put you in the green room. We got about 5.5 minutes, okay?
Sounds good, man.
I'll be right back. bring Jeff back in. I think I know the audio issue. StreamYard can be finicky sometimes, and it was with my cameras before the show not working properly. I think that's what caused it. So we'll figure it out. It should be better for tomorrow. Just means you guys later in the audience won't hear Swamp Dweller, but I might just move my microphone over to the speaker so you can hear it. All right. Less than a minute.
Sounds good. I think I thought of an answer for that. I can't remember what the question is anymore. I actually thought of a better answer for that question. I can't remember what you said anymore. Oh, well. We just get in the flow. It's nice. I like the flow so much. It's good.
Just run with it, man.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
It's all good.
Running with it. Thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney, Maggie, and Kitty Caddywhack for the super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support. We will get to audience questions this hour. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And here we go. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. All right, let's get right to it. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ablative. Ablative is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We bring in Jeff Selver. He is from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a gentleman who has had ET contact since childhood. Now he seems to get communication through telepathy. We're going to find out all about that. Jeff, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dave. Yeah, great. Love to be here.
When did the telepathy start?
2019. So when they were flying around my house and I wasn't aware that I had contact yet. And so all those memories were obscured and I didn't know that was part of my history. And these things were flying around. And it actually gave me an instruction. And I won't say that was a private instruction, but it was something in the way of learning about my history with them. And upon the instruction, I said, only if you show yourself. And then it did. And it flew right by my window as a white orb and it flew across. Just flew across the environment basically. And I immediately knew that what I'm hearing was these lights I kept seeing that I knew were associated with my traveling period. Separate to this, just like a couple months prior to this, I actually had an invisible entity in my house. And I thought it was a spirit. I didn't know what it was. And it called itself my dolphin twin. Now that's a whole other weird side part to this. But the bottom line is that I was kind of going through emotions of feeling very stuck, especially about my past and some confusing feelings and memories I had, or confusing feelings, but also confusing about the whole past period. And I was getting very depressed about it. And so something had come into my house, and I actually had experiences with spirits before, and people had passed on, loved ones who had passed on, and had experiences communicating with them. So I knew myself to be adept a little bit at this, but this was new. Nothing had ever done this. And then I saw it upon talking. It was a visible gaseous looking entity standing in my, and it was about 4 feet tall, standing in my living room, basically in front of my window. And that happened first before the telepathy really started to pick up. And I was unclear, but it felt very connected. All of this happening in my life at the time. So this entity coming in that was talking with me, and then these orbs that were talking with me and then showing themselves. And also upon that too, part of the whole phenomenon at the time was that it was responding to me in some weird way. I would maybe say something like, I wonder if aliens are ever going to show themselves to humanity. And then there's an object flying over top of my house, and it lasts for about 7 seconds, but it was like a disc looking thing. And so it's a weird, it's not what you think. You always, all the stories make you think that there's these random events called UFOs, and then random humans who see them and randomly get taken by accident, or because it's bad luck that you were there at that time. And instead, all this was interacting with me. It was personal, and not just that, with my thoughts. Right? I'm not even speaking out loud in some of these events. I'm thinking them, and it's thinking back. and so that was 2019, and some of the sightings got very pronounced, and I was able to film them. And my red orbs are the very first one. They're on my website, and they're the very first film I got. And at that point, I was like, "This is you. I know it's you. This is you. These are you guys." And when I started unraveling the memories, I was pretty quick to put together the elder. This is the elder. This is the elder, basically. And in telepathy, I was able to confirm that over time. And all that's happened is that telepathy has just gotten stronger. And I've worked at it, because there were periods where she was here every night. And so I found ways to, at first the telepathy wasn't easy to get on the spot. Telepathy is like a hypnagogic state. So you have to kind of get the mind out of the way and be open to your subtle self, maybe the subtle mind, you can say. And so at first it's hard, because you're very excited to look at this object, whatever you're looking at. And then I would digest the telepathy after the sighting. Be like, something was being said, or I could feel impressions, and then I'd have to sit there and figure out what was being said. Now I can see her, and we can be talking or communicating. And so, yeah, it's gotten stronger over time.
What kind of messages did it start out with?
Well, it acts like a guardian angel, 100%. And it's concerned for me. It actually, so in the early days, she facilitated the memories. So if I was confused about something, I could actually ask this thing and eventually get, clarity on something. And also I fought with them when the memories all unraveled. We fought. I ended up, you said were you scared, right? With the whole being scared thing. It went from being scared at first to falling in love with them, to then finding them like a nuisance in my life, actually, because they were taking biology, and it started a fight. And the fight ended up spiraling out for years, not years, but it left impressions that changed me as an individual. So, and they kind of wanted to rectify that in the modern and presently. So there's, in the early days, everything was like guardian angel style, like personal, trying to help me with the memories. But also there was like, get that book out. They were really, there was a lot of pressure actually on their behalf to, they wanted that information out, and they wanted it out fast. And so that's interesting too. And that's the gist of the early days. They have told me quite a bit about themselves since, and that's what's really fascinating, was some of this information I could corroborate now. And yeah.
What kind of messages are they sending you?
Well, okay, so if it's not guardian angel style, it's so there was a period there where they wanted me to understand them, where they wanted me to understand who they are and where they're from. And what helped is I was doing a presentation on the afterlife and the phenomenon. So I, because I'd seen the afterlife on an alien spacecraft, I felt like I could contribute to this information. So it's a series on my YouTube channel. I can't remember the direct, I think how the afterlife is connected to the phenomenon or something. I can't remember what I say to that, but that's the title of it. And I was working on that. And during that process, I would go out at nighttime and I would see them around. And oh, by the way, for anyone who's maybe a skeptic of this, like, why aren't you filming them? They don't want to be filmed. So there's times where they're okay with me filming them, and then I have those videos, and I have a bunch. There's a whole bunch on my website, a whole bunch on my YouTube channel. I dissect them. I tear everything apart and look at the physics of it. And yeah, there's some fascinating corroborations by Bob Lazar about how they operate, and you can see some of these things in my craft, and it's kind of fun. But most of the time, they'll actually be present with me if I don't film them. And I find that very valuable. I actually prefer getting better at the telepathy and getting close to them and putting the phone away and then making it a personal experience. And that helps me with the present stuff I do presently with the podcast or presentations I'm doing. So I can get feedback. Actually, they'll give me feedback about what I'm doing. And so that helps. So I prefer that. And so there was a period there where they were, during that afterlife presentation, while I was building it, they were trying to tell me who they are and where they're from. And so she started with robot ghosts. So I got a clear feeling from these objects, and it was like everything just changed. The vibe changed, and it was like, we want to tell you who we are, where we're from. And I could really feel it, like a real strong, clear presence was, we want to tell you who we are and where we're from. And then it went from, I could feel robot ghosts. So it was like robot ghosts. And I kind of knew that part. I was like, okay, robots. I knew that they're like biological robots, right? I think we're kind of understanding that part. And the ghost part, like they're able to phase, and they're able to be. She's a huge paranormal presence. When she's not an orb, she's a paranormal entity in my life. So I knew that part anyway as well too. So that's fine. Okay, paranormal robot ghosts. And then one night, very specifically, with very intense telepathy, we're going to tell you something you're going to find hard to believe, but we're from the future. Okay. I was like, okay, what does that mean? And I didn't and then once I'm asking questions, she's not answering. And there's always this idea that, information, they dole it out very slowly and softly and gently for you to digest. So I was like, what does that mean? Future what? Future humans, future Earth, another future, another dimension future, what future? There's no answers, no response to that. So that's okay. That's pretty interesting. Then while doing the afterlife presentation, I learn about astral fields. Apparently, when people in between life regressions and a lot of the research, when you look at all the research, I can't remember the researchers I was looking at. Dolores Cannon was one of them, but Dr. Michael Newton had done, hundreds of cases of between life regressions, and people keep seeing astral fields. So people see little fields in the background in the afterlife. And so one night, like totally blown away from my afterlife research, how much the afterlife was connecting with my experiences on craft. The experiences were so similar. Being on craft is very much like the stories I'm hearing about the afterlife. People talk about consciousness tech in the afterlife. People experience consciousness tech on craft. What's going on here? What's going on here, aliens? So one night I'm literally saying to her, robot ghosts from the future, tell them what's the connection with the afterlife. And then she's in telepathy, boom, she shows me those astral fields. Like I guess like she's drawing them to my mind, the ones that I'm reading about. The idea that there's these astral fields in the afterlife. People see these astral fields, these kind of stacked layers. And then she takes my mind. So I'm with her in this moment, and we like go through them. We turn around and we look back at the Earth, and the Earth is in the future. It's in an alternate timeline. I could feel all this stuff. It was all very extremely visceral. I've never had an experience like this in my life. I could feel the Earth was in the future. It was in an alternate timeline, and it was like a shadow Earth. It was a black Earth with an etheric like dimension over top of it. And all of a sudden, a lot of things made sense. So that this is where they're coming from. They're coming from, because with the orbs always coming around me, I was pretty clear that they're materializing through the atmosphere. I could feel it. Something was going on here where they're coming through the atmosphere. And seeing this planet, this future alternate Earth dimension, all of a sudden made sense. Now, okay, this is the information I got. This is where the gray aliens I'm interacting with are from, some type of alternate Earth dimension. But very quickly, I'm like, Earth dimension. And in my presentation was Tom DeLonge talking about civilization alongside our own. And he was talking about the future when he was talking about it. And Tom DeLonge seems to have, Ross Coulthard's given Tom DeLonge props for having the right information. Very interesting. So his information, he didn't give away all that detail, but kind of talked about there's a species that's living alongside of us, and they're in the future. And that's the only hints he kind of gave. And that's what I saw. And then the other flip of actually doing, after what that information, I recalled I'd seen an FBI document talking about astral planes and the aliens, or something to do with aliens and astral planes. And I went and dug that back up. It's a 1947 document, and it lists, it's all the detail matched. The FBI has always known since 1947 the origin of the gray aliens. And this detail matched. Like, this telepathy is not like some woo channel material. This is the real deal stuff coming from the real aliens. And it's all corroborated by an FBI doc from 1947. And all the details, they're all bullet points. And it's what apparently the document is, some scientist was tasked with talking with the aliens and learning about where they're from. And then this information was supposed to go to politicians and scientists in 1947. And the FBI documents directly on their website, if you literally Google FBI document 1947 astral planes or aliens, maybe you'll get the link. And it's a 60-page document, and there's a bullet point series. And this is the detail. They are not humans. They are from an alternate astral plane. They literally use the word astral planes in the like locus and talus, which are the Vedic for astral planes. And so they're coming from an alternate version. The future is not mentioned. Very interesting. But that they are coming from an alternate Earth. That's an etheric Earth, not like our own, but it's its own Earth with an etheric dimension wrapped around it, which is exactly what I've witnessed with my own eyes. So this is the type of stuff they're giving me. They're giving me the hard kind of wraparound details that are, this is stuff that's extreme for humans. And I think when you start unraveling all these details, you kind of get why disclosure has taken so long, because this stuff just is too boggling, and we don't have any physics to back it up right now. So we're interacting with entities that we don't have physics for. So you can see why there's some problems with this. So I'm happy to share that one. That was fun.
Let's get to some audience questions here. Let's go over to and start things off with Kim Jellin. How do you know the reveal will be soon?
Because that's what they shared with me. And then the information I have government cooperation for it. So, and it turns out Chris Bledsoe actually I didn't know Chris Bledsoe was shown some of the planet stuff, and his planet stuff matched mine. And that was really telling. And then I don't know if Chris Bledsoe knows this, but I have a government cooperation through Linda Moulton Howe. So I'm down in contact in the desert. I have a connection with Linda, and I can hang out with her, and I'm talking with her about that stuff. And so she has a connection for the same planet event, and that a government person was tasked with how to figure out how to save humanity. So the aliens have given me this information. Why would they, the bottom line is that how much of the reveal is really going to happen, I don't know. But I know that they need things to change really soon. And that's what they showed me, and that there's a lot at stake, and the planet is at stake. And that's what they're concerned for. And it looks to me like, you look out the window and there's some things that are very unprecedented, and that was always their concern. So how it all gets revealed, I can't speak for that, because I'm not clear what the government's going to do. I don't know what the picture is going to look like, but I know the aliens are really not happy, and that they want things to be changing. And so I'm like confident about it. How it all unfolds, I don't have the full details, but some idea, but I don't know the specifics in a very concrete human way. So,
all right. let's follow it up with Kim. Then when is disclosure?
Yeah, when is yeah, see, I don't know that. I don't have deadlines. I know some other people get dates and deadlines and stuff like that. I've always I always lean towards John Ramirez mentioning 2027. I know other people have said this and channels have said this, and I don't follow that. John Ramirez provided some pretty clear logic that he was told in a CIA briefing that 2027 was something the government was very aware of, and that's why. And then the whole picture is that this was a 10-year soft disclosure program, and that just makes a lot of sense that the entities themselves are pressuring humanity to get this information out, because when a planet event or something happens, we're going to be in the dark, and they don't want us to be in the dark about it. And so the idea that there was always a 2027 makes a lot of sense. I'm not given that information as far as like dates or anything like that. It doesn't work that way for me. Yeah.
All right, next question would be from Benno. When you were living by yourself in the wilderness, did you ever get scared for your safety, grizzlies and such? Dave and Tim have pointy sticks with them on their investigation.
That's a great question, Benno. And so in my first edition of my book, I actually have nature stories in the traveling period. And yeah, I have run-ins with bears. Yeah, it's totally wild. And I just, it was in the editing of the second edition with Susie Hansen, and we decided to make this story more succinct and easier for people to get through. So I pulled out most of the kind of cool nature stories. But I definitely had run-ins with animals, and I'd run-ins with wolves, and I'd run-ins with bears. No grizzlies per se, but face to face with black bears, big black bears, and I was scared for my life. And you just, in the moment, all I knew, I don't know, Dave, what would you think about this? But I sang to the bear. So I had this idea in my head that if I would be big and loud and sing, it would be terrified. Instead, it seemed to calm me down to sing. I was like, whoa, 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 singing. It's kind of like opera, being really loud. And it calmed me down to do that. And it seemed to calm the bear down. And the bear got on its hind legs. And then it kind of got back down, and it got close to me and then moved up a hill and watched me from the top of this little knoll. And then I went on my way. So I had run-ins with animals. So definitely, but I was living on faith. That's the whole point. And I was always on the edge, and then you're living in your heart that everything will turn out okay.
I love the bears. I do.
Love the bears, yeah.
Gray Owl is saying, how much weight does Jeff allocate to the hypothesis that UFO occupants are smoking hot alien space babes? I don't pre-read these. Maybe I should sometime.
Well, let's take every question seriously. So, okay, I don't think that by our human standards. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you that I think people are going to be shocked for. When you interact with the hybrids, I think they're going to be highly attractive. And even if they got bizarre human features or physical features, humans do not know what these entities are like. And they know how to get on your good side. And if they are attracted to you, then they'll envelop you in like a kind of a psychic fashion. And so that's all. Just attraction might mean something else when all is said and done. And you might be a bit surprised at how terrifying some of these ideas sound right now, like hybrids. And then it turns out when you're interacting with them, they'll actually be very, very personable, and they can get right into you and learn how to make you feel better and make you feel good in a emotional way. I mean, I want to emphasize.
Well, hold that thought right there. We're going to come back with more audience questions on Spaced Out Radio with the researcher, author, and extraterrestrial contactee, Jeff Selver, and his story next on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody.
That's good. Just keep in mind that smoking hot is
All right, we are clear. Hi, Kaz. How you doing? David Norenberg, nice to have you here. Amanda, thank you for joining us. Crescent, welcome to SOR Chat. That is what we call our pew-pews around here because pew-pews sound so silly. So we call them pointy sticks. Thank you to Joe Monk for naming that. Well, let's see. Who else do we have here? Let's see here. Yeah, Monk's in the chat room. Nicole Sackage? I haven't seen her in the chat room. Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Me? Good.
Yeah,
man.
you're Jeff.
Yeah, things are going great. Just thanks for having me on and fun times. And yeah, I like the hard questions too. I love that you, hard questions are good because this is all real deal stuff and we got to get to the bottom of it all, right? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Your beard is loved.
I know. It's the only thing about me that I got going for me right now. Oh, God.
You got your voice too, man. Your
We
voice
do
is
have some cool videos.
Yeah. You got a good presentation here, man. This is a really good setup.
Let's see. Yeah, we got Tim and I are in the Tim's does all the hard lifting. But he's doing a lot of editing right now for our fifth out of our series that we have about our secret space here.
Oh,
Call Flight 21.
So what's the premise?
Oh, that's just the place I was telling you before the show where we have a lot of crap going on.
Yeah. So you're calling it Flight 21?
Yeah, it's called Flight 21.
Flight 21. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a plane
I love
crash site.
Is that really the case? That's a flight? And it turns out that the location has got all this activity?
Oh, yeah, dude. Like it's
a crash site with a lot of activity. That's a really weird connection, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a connection there?
Oh, I think the crash was the cause. But the effect is crazy out there.
Well, like, what about Bermuda Triangle style where electricity failed? Like, what caused the crash? Do you know?
There was a bomb on board. It's Canada's largest unsolved mass murder.
Out in 100 Mile House.
Yeah. 52 people died.
Wow.
Crash.
When did that happen?
On July 8th, it'll be 60 years.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Very, very interesting. I got to head up there and check that out. That's really cool.
Yeah. Come on up.
Yeah.
It's, no, we're not camping out there. We're not camping out there. That's dumb. How dare you think that, Tim? I've done that before. I don't like it at night. Oh, my goodness. It is... How can I put it? The phenomena will fool with you from the time you get there until the time you leave.
Right.
And the phenomena can be very happy, and it can turn on a dime to make you feel absolutely sick to your stomach. So in our last 5 trips there, we've had a shadow being that we caught on film. We've had ghostly voices caught on microphone.
Nice.
We've had disembodied voices trying to lure us into the forest. We've had Sasquatch footprints and maybe even a handprint. We've traded items. Items have reappeared. Tim saw what he believed was about a 5-foot alien. You name it, it's happened up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very wild. Don't doubt it, man. Yeah.
Never follow the voices. Never follow the voices calling you into the forest. Right. That's David Polite's shit right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent a lot of energy on that for a while. Yeah, missing 411. Oh, yeah.
We got about 40 seconds here.
Sounds good.
You know those two spots right behind your ears sometimes ache? Mine are just killing me right now.
Oh,
All day.
could
Thank you, Kitty Cattywack, Maggie, and Deboruni for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love. We're going to get into audience questions when we return here. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. We're going to get going here in a couple of seconds. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Final time tonight, author, researcher, experiencer Jeff Selver is here. Jeff, before we get to more audience questions for you, where can people find your book?
My website, www.jeffselver.com, JEFFSELVER.com. Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's
It's
easy.
The Rising and the Alien Plan. The Rising, and the subtitle is "And the Alien Plan to Build an Enlightened City on Earth."
I love it. I love it. All right, let's get to more audience questions here. Start off with Benno. When all of your cells were vibrating, did it feel initially like a panic attack, or was it different? I know you said it felt great eventually.
Now, are you referring to the first contact event?
Probably, yeah. These questions go way back.
No. No. And I don't know, Benno, if that's what you're referring to, but yeah, let's say you're talking about the first contact event. I can't think of what else you might be referring to. I'm assuming you're talking about when I was in the White Room and I got condensed into an orb. And no, I don't. It was not panic. I would say a state of shock and awe. And then you're not processing. Panic would be too much fear. And in the environment, I was already, comforted, not comforted, but coalesced by kind of a unity feel, and you're just in shock. So you're not even processing. Panic would be I have to protect myself. And so I wasn't really panicking. I was just in shock and awe, and with no ability to formulate any other thoughts.
Moving on to another question. Let's go to Gray Owl. Jeff, do you have memory of the Gray's specific appearance? Is it the same as a Class 3 variant a la Victor Alien interview?
That's a really great question, and I don't know what the Class 3 variant means, but that the Victor Alien interview, yes, it is. In fact, like I found that was a corroboration. I did a video on it, that the alien interview has the same shape as my alien does, 100%. So it's got the same jaw structure with a chin that comes down. The eyes aren't flat or across; they're actually downset. And that's exactly to my alien as well too. My alien, though, had a larger cone going back, but that face structure is bang on to my alien. And I 100% believe that video to be real, to be a real gray alien. Yeah.
All right, moving on here. Let's go to Paramarv. Are there indicators that someone can look for if they think they might have alien DNA in them?
Yeah. So, first off, I'm 100% convinced there's already alien DNA in the population. And I mean that through some of our genetic races, basically. And so I'm 100% convinced the Druid, Celtic, Irish is gray alien hybrids. And I guess at some point thousands of years ago is where that happened. But and I only had that from intuition, because I have a very distinct moment in my contact events, in contact event number 3, where I feel bonded to them. I can feel it in the tall grays. And then all these years later, I can feel the same feeling amongst my Irish friends, or those who have Irish DNA in them. And it turns out everyone that I was able to talk with, who was an experiencer or could call orbs or whatever it is, all had some Irish back. They could always trace something back to an Irish DNA. And only recently did John Ramirez say he knew, he was mentioning this on Area 52, the podcast, that he knew that the Celtic was hybrids. And that was like a major corroboration, because I've been saying that for several years now. And he also gave another race, another genetic lineage too, and it's from the Turkey area, or like Syria, Turkey. And that was really interesting too, because I have some research behind that. So those are the two that I know are already hybridized. And other than that, if you attract the phenomenon, you've got something in your DNA. If you're interacting with it in any way, shape, or form, it's normal in your life, or it comes back to you, or it was in your life at one point and then comes back at another point. You've got something in your DNA, and it's interacting with you through, and there's something with consciousness interacting with the unified field, interacting with the simulation, the alternate, the simulation that's around us. And then that's why sometimes you're getting that scenario of you can see the craft and other people can't, because it's interacting with your DNA and a frequency that's emitted by you specifically, and it knows how to fine tune all that stuff. And so, yeah, if you're interacting with the phenomenon, you've got some type of DNA that's interesting to them. What that is for you to explore and to figure out. But that's my best guess, is if you are just interacting with the phenomenon, you got something genetically that they like anyway.
All right, let's move on to another one. Let's go next to Polly. In my experience, I need to be medically supported. She medically supports women and baby hybrids in a craft. Why do you think they needed the human empathy and touch?
Yeah, interesting. I think that they can't supply it. Now, that's a really great one, Polly, and I do know I've heard of this type of scenario before, and I appreciate you talking about that. And I myself wasn't given a lot of information about it, but I do it myself too. I do it for hybrid babies as well, my 23rd contact event. And my best, knowledge was that they can't provide it. So they can provide a level of interaction and development and comfort. And I guess you could say telepathic, but I think that the whole point with the hybrids is the human emotional mind. Human emotional mind is fragments reality, and they like it. And, we can love the sunset, that type of thing. And we can fall in love and watch a good movie and go for picnics and go on a bike ride and love our friends and hang out. And that's new to them. And that whole emotional fragmentation is something that they're trying to hybridize with themselves. And so that does require proper, emotional care, the way only a human can provide. And so that's how I understand that their hybrid babies do need that. Actually, they need that human care. And I don't have any other bigger picture about how they could be, other ways they're facilitating that. But I do believe that that's the case. Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Hypersonic, who is asking, how do you remember all of this? My memory is limited to the night in 1992. I do not recall anything thereafter. Was I abducted? Possibly.
So, how I remember this is that they want me to remember it. And that's a big part of all this. And they did it in a way that they built the contact events in a way that once I discovered it, I would be holding on to the anchor that would allow me to get all of the memories. And it took time. And of course, some things were obscured and some things were not. But that obscuring was only on my behalf. It wasn't something that they had done. I had blocked out things of myself because some of it was traumatizing. But I worked through that. but they are the ones who wanted me to have that memory. A good example, some of the people really get, the reason why I would have that memory is because, again, Jacques Vallée's book Dimensions has a really good summary there. He doesn't understand it, but he's saying, the entities obscured someone's memory, and he's confused why they did that. And the entity explains directly, and it says, you won't speak wisely about this event. So then they obscure the memory. And Jacques Vallée is confused by that because they can eventually get the memory through hypnosis. But I'm like, yeah, but that's the point. The point is that look at who's public, right? You don't get the fear-based people public, right? You can get some who are trying to figure it out, but the people who are really, really, really public are people who are finding ways to draw wisdom from the contact events. And if you're able to do that, the entities are actually, and you're able to be public about it in some way, the entities actually appear to really want that. They really want to help, humans to properly digest some of this stuff. And again, I saw the afterlife on an alien spacecraft. I interacted with my oversoul. So I have a way of, framing the overarching picture about even the hardship was done to develop me and to grow me and to evolve me. And if I can see it that way, that helps me and it helps them. So then they initiate the memory release, and that happened in 2016. And then there was a whole process that took a lot of time. My memories. So I don't know what happened to you in 1992. I don't recall anything thereafter. Was I abducted? Possibly. Yeah. So I think you're saying that to yourself, but yeah, I hope you figure that out. But the idea here is that there's no victims here. And we live in a world where we think we're victims because we are inundated in our environment with ideas that we're victims to everything, education and politics and work and corporations. And the reality is we put ourselves here. And when you can start seeing things from an oversoul perspective, that helps with the entities, helps with contact and understanding contact as well too.
Awesome. Let's go to another question here. Let's go to Scott here, who is asking, could the telepathy be pheromones like ants and bees use?
So it happens not always in the environment. So that doesn't work. It's a good theory, and I've thought it through myself. And on craft, I can be around corners, and they're telepathically talking to me. And of course, the telepathy occurs also from craft, from orbs. And as I kind of gave the story here, I corroborated that. So that telepathy is correct. So it is unified field. It's the stuff people don't want it to be. It's the God field. So yeah, it's consciousness. And the idea is that we are individuations in a field, and then you can traverse your thinking and feeling in a directed format. And the crafts are actually environments that facilitate that.
Let's go over to Kim. Do the aliens, ever arrange reality circumstances in your life?
Well, that's a great question. I can only assume you must mean like through synchronicities. And that is, in fact, what my story is. That is the story. That is the rising was an event that they facilitated, and I just went through it as a normal human, not knowing what was happening to me. And then I had to listen to it. I had to follow my heart or follow my mind was kind of the end lesson. And when I followed my heart, my entire world altered and everything changed. And now I was traveling, and then I saw orbs and objects in the sky because I listened to myself. And so, yeah, and that's not how it, then I end traveling and they do the same thing. And I would actually say that's what's happening right now too. This whole idea that I go around speaking on podcasts and have a book is them. And so, yeah, they are, now I can only assume you mean that, like with synchronicities and in my world and how they're facilitating changes in my world, unless you mean holographically on craft or something. But I think you mean this, where they 100% synchronicities was a big part of my story. The idea that they can manipulate, listen, they're from the future. That perspective makes a lot more sense when you get that they're from the future, and then they can facilitate synchronicities and space-time convergences to manifest at a certain period. And I think the human themselves has a play with that, but they somehow know how to make a synchronicity happen. So it changes your life. And they definitely facilitate that stuff.
Where in the future are they from?
Yeah, that's a good question. And what's really confusing is that it's not human future. So it's a really, the wacky thing about the paranormal realm, right? You study the paranormal, is that the paranormal has time. It works differently there, right? The fact that you can capture the past and then have it replayed in a haunted environment. People apparently in the Civil War, or wherever the Civil War, sorry for not being American, I don't know where the Civil War occurred, but Gettysburg apparently is the most haunted environment in North America. And there was a story of someone going into the basement and a full scene played out in front of them of war, like the doctor room and the environment where the people were being healed, and they were traumatized because it was terrifying, and it was a full scene replayed. And I've known people myself to see these type of events that are captured in time. Well, the paranormal realm does this, right? The thinner dimension of these environments. And so this idea that these guys are linking to paranormal realms and now they're in some other future realm is so screwed up. And when I saw it, this is why consciousness is a big part of this. It's like future for us. Like I guess maybe the universe was older in their environment. I can't frame it any other way, and I don't have the answers fully. It's not like a human future. It's not like 5,000 years from the future. It was a future that when they come to us, they're going into the past. And that's all I know, is that when they come and interact with us, they're coming from the past. They're coming into the past to interact with us. And so therefore, when they do interact with us, they're interacting with timelines. And that's the most screwed up part about this all, is but it answers so much about how and why they interact with us the way they do. That they're interjecting things and then watching them as they play out, and then, fudging. And they're fudging with things. And that's the bigger picture here. So they're coming from a perspective that looks at it from a different angle. And what that future is it feels like the future. And this speaks volumes about consciousness and collective consciousness, and how the collective consciousness felt like the future in a different universe, that was in a different future, that was in a more forward in time, I guess. Like, I don't even really have the answer to how to frame that. And but it was definitely the future. So yeah, we're going into dimensions and realms that humans have trouble with here, right?
Yeah, and that was my next question in regards to it. I mean, if they're coming from the future, how do we know they're from our dimension?
So it's not our dimension. That's the problem. That is why it's not like, so it's what's really crazy here is that, so Earth, and then this is our Earth, and then just right alongside of us in like other astral dimensions that don't even interact with us, don't touch us, don't link with us. That's where these guys, and they're one of many, I can only assume, because I don't have the answer to that. And then that's a realm that they're in. And then their Earth looks very different. It doesn't look like our Earth. You don't see the mountains. You don't see the trees. I didn't see any life there. That's what's crazy too. And they exist in the atmosphere of that realm. So everything's altered. Everything's different. And when I was there, it feels like the future in a collective consciousness type of fashion where, yeah, maybe their Earth is older than, maybe. I don't really know how to answer that. It's like I don't have the full answer, except for it felt like the future. So when they're jumping ship to our dimension, they've got a future perspective of it, and so that helps them, adjust and do timelines and do weird things like that.
All right, let's move to another question here. Let's go over to Gray Owl. Not that question. Let's go to Polly here. How do you make a difference between telepathy and your inner voice?
Experience. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, on craft, it's obvious because you're interacting with the entity, but you must be meeting with the orbs, and that's experience. Yeah, that is experience. And them helping with that process where I'm hearing them say, do this thing, and then I'm saying, only if you show yourself, and then they do, you're like, whoa. And I've had more than one time, way more than once, where I can ask questions. I can say, can you do something? Can you move? I can actually, the last one that occurred was actually me saying, oh, I want to film this. And then she stops. I know that's me telepathically talking to her. So, but the point is I get that interaction. I get enough of it that she will be saying something and I can see the orb respond to it. And another good example of this is, right. So she's telling me she's from the future. She's from an alternate Earth dimension, that she can't be in our environment in a way without it damaging her body. So then I picked that telepathy up and I said, so you can't be in my dimension. I literally say it out loud, and then the object lights up. So she's talking to me. So she's communicating through flashes of the craft. Turns out Chris Bledsoe says this is how the objects talk to him too, that they flash. So yeah, you get that validation. And that just comes with experience. And yeah, you're right. I totally know what you're saying. Because at first, sit there and guess, is this my voice that said that? Or what's going on here? And over time, you can iron that out.
Next question comes from Benno. Touching is mammalian trait prerequisite for child rearing. They have lost the ability to reproduce.
Well, yeah, and they don't have the emotional human mind. That's just the best way to frame it, right? They don't have the human mind, and they're dimensional entities that use bodies like their tools. And we use bodies as a way to experience our reality separate from the reality we come from. We love that we get engrossed into sunsets and have parties and watch TV shows. We love that, right? That's what we enjoy, being human. And they don't have that experience. They experience things differently, but with those hybrids, yeah, they want to be gaining that experience, that emotional connection. And I think these hybrid babies have it, and they're maybe struggle sometimes. I don't know if they struggle, but they look for us to give it to their hybrids babies sometimes. Yes.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Amanda. If we were human hybrids, why would we even want emotions?
If we were human hybrids. So I don't think I understand. So is this in reference to me saying that humans are hybrids?
Well, that there are human hybrids out there.
Yeah.
It's a philosophical question.
Yeah. Why would we? I think we want emotions. I think like, think about what you love. That's it. What do you love to do? Oh, I love to go for a coffee. Okay. Well, you love to hang out in the Starbucks and to have that peace and to hang out and to get contemplative. Those are emotions, right? So you love emotions. And maybe there's other offshoots of why we don't love emotions, because they distract us. And that's where we have to learn to manage the mind. We have to meditate. We have to learn these things. We have to learn to manage ourselves. And so I agree with that. I'm not saying we don't need to do that, but I've been meditating for 20 years and that helps in those processes to distinguish what part of our emotions we do love and which we don't. So I agree that that's challenging, but I think the human, especially with these entities coming, we will have to get better at managing our emotions we don't like. And when we do, we can really enjoy the emotions we do like. Because a lot of us, that's why we have friends and family, right? This is what we really get out of our emotions, is we share and have joy and friendship and fun and laughter. Those are all part of our emotional experience.
Jeff, tell us where everybody can find your books.
Yeah. My name is Jeff Selver. My website is www.jeffselver.com, JEFFSELVER.com. You can also just do a Google search, Jeff Selver, or through there you can find my book. My book is The Rising and the Alien Plan to Build an Enlightened City on Earth. And if you Google that, you'll definitely get the Amazon page as well too.
And we really appreciated having you on the show tonight, Jeff. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
Dave.
so enlightened, and a big thank you to you for coming on in and telling us your story tonight. We really appreciate it. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio as we go into hour number 3, we're going to prepare for Swamp Dweller. Then little Timmy James will be in studio for the UFO report. Spaced Out Radio continues with hour 3 next. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Oh,
Fun
yeah.
time as
Anytime.
always.
Anytime. Love your knowledge. And email me about what we talked about earlier.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate it so much, man. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
Yeah. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Great guy. Jeff Selver, great guy. I like him. We'll be right back, everybody. Try and move my chair. Let's get ready here. Little Timmy James. All right. Jeez, can you be any louder, dude?
Oh yeah, a lot louder.
Holy cow. Wow.
Don't give me a hard time, man.
Well, I'm giving you a hard time.
I'll tell Deb from SAC.
Debaruni from Sackaroonie.
Yeah, she'll stick with me.
It's because you have a bald head. That's why. Thank you tonight to Debaruni, Maggie, and Kitty for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support tonight, everybody. Hi, Lex Diaz. How you doing? And we're going to come back here in a couple seconds. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ablative. Ablative is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. I'm Swamp Welling, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. About 2 years ago, a couple of friends and I decided to sneak into an abandoned asylum in Downey, California after nightfall. We noticed a security guard doing his final rounds and waited for him to leave the premises. Once the coast was clear, we approached the surrounding fence and jumped over it to get onto the property. And as soon as we did, we all experienced something that I can only describe as a heavy and unpleasant feeling. All the windows and doors were boarded up from the outside, but as we made our way around the building, we discovered an entrance that had been broken into. So we made our way in and ended up in the auditorium. There were medical records scattered all over the floor of every room. One of my friends picked up one of them that caught his attention. It was a file from 1889. I don't recall the name of the patient, but he was said to have had some sort of mental disability, like what we now refer to as Down syndrome. It also had a list of mental disabilities and random treatments that had been performed on him over the years, ranging from shock treatment, inducing vomiting, to being forced to consume mercury pills. As we continued to explore the halls, we felt like we were being watched. It got to the point to where we weren't comfortable being inside the building anymore. And as we made our way back outside, I heard a faint whisper, and I felt like a hand brush on the back of my head. I quickly looked back, but there was nothing there. We ran from out of there as fast as we could, jumped the fence, and made our way back to the car. We thought nothing of it. We were just relieved to be out of there. The following night is when things really took a turn for the worst. I went to bed around 9 p.m. and awoke sometime around 12:45 a.m. to the feeling of someone pulling on my leg. I had a tendency to fall asleep with the TV on, so when my dad returned from work around midnight, he had a routine check to make sure my TV was on. So I wake up thinking I'm going to get lectured about leaving the TV on again. But as I look towards the doorway, I see that the door is open and the hallway light is on, but there is no sign of my dad. I then begin to feel pressure on my leg again, so I quickly turned my attention to the foot of my bed, and that's when I saw it. A solid, black, faceless silhouette is crouched over me, and it has a firm grip on my leg. I immediately froze and was unable to move, and everything went silent. All I could hear was what I can only describe as static, as it starts up and ran out of my room. And as I turned the corner, I bumped right into my dad, who was coming down the hallway to my room. He said he heard me hit the wall, and he was coming to see what was going on. I explained everything to him, the best I could. And of course, he ruled it off as a bad case of sleep paralysis. But I know for certain that this was not the case. I have had sleep paralysis many times before, and this experience was nothing like it. I was fully awake when the attack took place. I felt whatever it was that I came across probably came from that asylum the previous night and followed me home. I'm pretty sure it was just making me aware of its presence.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and listen to thousands of stories just like that. Here we go with Little Timmy James and the UFO Report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer.
Ooh. Ooh.
All right, Little Timmy James, thank you for hopping on in.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's good to have you in studio for the first time in a long time.
I know. It's been a minute, and yes, I'm glad to be here.
You know, only like people in their late 80s, early 90s say it's been a minute.
Hey, give me a break. You're so mean. Where's Deb from SAC? Deb.
Right. Right. No, seriously, though, the reason why you haven't been in studio recently is you have had the awesome task of editing our videos. And I want to say publicly the great job that you were doing for our project, the Flight 21 project, Secrets in the Forest, that can be found on our YouTube channel. And, you know, we're not pros, but you were doing a great job, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, I'm tripping over my feet, but I'm learning as I'm going. That's for sure. And yeah, and we've got some nice comments from people, and thank you very much. We do appreciate that. And like Dave said, we're just a couple of knuckleheads out there trying to do something cool, and it seems to be catching.
I want to ask you before we move on, what's your funnest part of all of this adventure?
Oh my goodness, really? Geez, that's a tough one. Besides hanging with Dave Scott, I mean, come on. No, I would say probably, just the build up to get there and starting to realize what occurs up there. It's almost like we're starting to be able to read well, a little bit, I should say. We're starting to read what's about to happen or when things are going to occur. And I'm getting in tune with that whole area, I think, is probably the most exciting part of this.
I can tell you the exciting part for me is watching you personally connect with your intuition.
That's kind of weird, eh?
Like, you're not an intuitive guy. And then all of a sudden, as we're driving up there, when we get within like 3-4 miles of the location, you're starting to feel things.
Yeah.
In the first couple times we filmed, you didn't feel anything.
No, besides just that kind of little creepy energy when we got up there, but nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, now it's kind of like you're starting to pick up on the senses and the feeling of it all. Do you think that for yourself that you've just opened your mind to it, or do you think that this is just something that you're just recognizing?
I think that it's a little of both. I think that opening my mind to it. I think Robin was the one that brought that on for me. It said, you've got to open your mind. You've got to sit quiet and allow things to happen. So I've been actually really trying to let that happen, and it seems to be working. But also, as Lon said too, he goes, he fit. I have abilities that I didn't know or I don't know that I have. And I think that being, open and following your lead on this has, like the doors are opening up, and it's really, really strange. It's cool, but it's very, very strange. I've never experienced stuff like this, and it's, I'm accepting of it, but it's all of a sudden, where the heck did that all come from? Right? Seeing stuff and hearing stuff. I don't get it.
Well, it is something that is fun watching. let me tell you, watching you go through that and watching you transform into, someone who's opening up to your own intuition, the voices that we're hearing, you and I have talked a few times about the voices that were in the forest there. What do you expect coming up here?
I expect. I'm thinking like we discussed on Monday night. I'm thinking that these are tests, and I'm actually pretty sure that they're happy that we're there, so they're opening up a little bit more and giving us little tidbits and stuff as we. But I think that they said 6 times to you before we start doing anything really heavy or in depth. And I have a funny feeling, don't know what it is, but I have a funny feeling that the 6th trip up there, I think we're probably going to be given gifts, I guess is the best way to put it. I think that things will come out and be a little more clear and a little more open. That seems to be what has been happening. So just an educated guess by all means.
One final question before we move on, because it is Happy UFO Day.
It is so.
Okay, so we are going to get into some UFOs here.
Yeah.
Out of the experiences so far, what has been the one that's tripped you out the most?
The one that tripped me out, it's either the finding the coins, and also the picture of the Bigfoot, that we suspect. But I think the Estes method that we do on this upcoming video, that was fast and furious. I couldn't believe the amount of communication we were getting, and with the ghost meters too going off the charts. So yeah, there's a few things. I can't pinpoint it because there's so much, and it's still, every time I think about it, you can feel that anxiety in a good way, it ramps up in me. So it's kind of hard to quash it all into a nice little box.
UFO Day.
Yes, it is.
This is where we all tip our hats to the people of Roswell, New Mexico, for leading the charge in the party that is the Roswell incident back in 1947. We are celebrating it this week.
Yes.
Your thoughts of it all?
I wish I was there. I wish I was we were down back at Area 51, because apparently, from what I was reading, it is crazy awesome. And it gets, all of us people get out and get our party on down there. So I'm thinking, I wish I was there. I really do. I really do wish I was there. So as is today, Happy World UFO Day, Skywatchers, researchers, and curious minds worldwide unite for World UFO Day, a global event dedicated to exploring the mysteries of unidentified flying objects and the possibility of extraterrestrial life, held annually on this date to commemorate the 1947 Roswell incident. The day encourages open discussion, scientific curiosity, and collective gaze towards the stars. So the origins of World UFO Day lie in one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. In early July of 1947, a rancher near Roswell, New Mexico, stumbled upon unusual debris scattered across his land. The U.S. Army Air Force, or U.S. Army Air Forces, initially announced they had recovered a flying disc, igniting a media frenzy. Within hours, the military retracted the claim, stating the debris was from a weather balloon. The about-face sparked decades of speculation, with many believing the government concealed evidence of an alien craft. This incident, now legendary, transformed Roswell into a cultural touchstone for UFO enthusiasts and became the anchor for World UFO Day's chosen date. The idea for a dedicated UFO day took shape in 2001 when Turkish UFO researcher Haktan Akdogan proposed a global event to promote awareness of unidentified aerial phenomenon and foster dialogue about their implications. Early on, some celebrated the occasion on June 24th, marking pilot Kenneth Arnold's 1947 sighting of 9 crescent-shaped objects flying at incredible speeds near Mount Rainier in Washington state. His description of their motions, like saucers skipping on water, birthed the term flying saucers. and ignited modern UFO fascination. Over time, July 2nd gained prominence due to Roswell's enduring grip on the public imagination. World UFO Day is more than a nod to grainy photos and eyewitness accounts. It reflects humanity's quest to understand its place in the cosmos. Landmark incidents like the 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO sightings, where objects appear on radar and were seen by military pilots, or the 1989-1990 Belgium UFO wave, where thousands reported triangular craft, underscore the phenomenon's persistence. In recent years, the conversation has shifted. Governments, including the U.S., have declassified UFO-related documents, and NASA now studies UAPs, signaling a move towards mainstream scientific inquiry. As the sun sets, World UFO Day invites everyone to look up and wonder, whether driven by skepticism, belief, or pure curiosity, the event celebrates the unknown and the enduring question, are we alone?
It's amazing that after all this time, 1947, we're coming up 68 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or 78 years, pardon me.
Yeah.
How we are still arguing this story. How we are still trying to figure out what really happened and how did it happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's absolutely ridiculous that there is still a big argument over this. Now, I personally believe Roswell was a UFO. And the few clues that I have had from people more in the know than me, never working in or being in the military, and thank all of our veterans who have served over time. But you don't bring a triaxle trailer on a semi-truck or carried by a semi-truck for a weather balloon. You don't bring out an entire platoon of Army Air Force soldiers to cordon off the area for a weather balloon. You don't threaten people's lives saying if they talk about this, they could be shot and killed for a weather balloon. All of this happened. All of this is the dawn of a reality that has still not been exposed.
Right.
And I believe that one of the reasons why the U.S. government has never disclosed Roswell as being of extraterrestrial descent is because it would open up the Pandora's box that is sitting in the Pentagon somewhere deep with all of the secrets that are there. And I believe that, and this is my opinion, okay? I also believe that if they did open up that door, it would cause 70-some years of panic and anger towards the United States government and the military-industrial complex. We don't know what secrets we're giving.
Right.
Okay, we don't know what technologies we learned from these craft.
Okay.
Or even these beings.
Right.
We don't know. And if they come out and say that they've been holding on to free energy or anti-gravitics for 70 years, 78 years to be blunt, that would be disastrous for not only the U.S. government, but the world. Because could be secrets in there, if true.
Right.
There could be secrets in there that could benefit humanity so well and advance us so much that we don't have to worry about taxes. We don't have to worry about, pharmaceuticals. We don't have to worry about disease. We don't have to worry about finances. There's all these things that could have been opened up.
Right.
And I believe all of those secrets, at least the majority of them, are in that UFO Pandora's box. And maybe I'm wrong, but I still think it starts with the disclosure of Roswell.
Okay.
And remember, people who are pushing disclosure doesn't happen until all the secrets are known.
Right.
So you could have President Trump stand up at the pulpit of front of the White House and say, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, we are not alone in this universe.
Right.
But we're not going to know disclosure until it all comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts, in my opinion, with Roswell.
Huh. Interesting. I was thinking of that when you said that. So, and I'm just questioning, or just a question. So you feel that Roswell, I mean, obviously we figured that this is the big event that started a lot of this and got it going. But you think if they opened the doors on the Roswell files, just open them and laid them all out, that it would contain that much information? Or you think that it leads to more information?
It leads to more information, but
Okay.
we can't even get, I mean, there's literally hundreds of books written about Roswell and the crash there. There were 2 crashes that day.
That's right.
Most of those books never mention the second crash at San Augustine. Most of those books don't include the fact that there was a secondary craft. Now, the late, great Stanton Friedman,
Right.
he believed that the 2 collided in midair.
Right.
Apparently, there may have been a thunderstorm in the area that day, as well as the amount of radar jamming that was going on in the area, because New Mexico was the hotbed at that time for nuclear weapons testing.
True.
He believes, or his theory, I shouldn't say he believed, but his theory was between the radar jamming and maybe a thunderstorm happening, the 2 craft collided. One crashed in San Augustine, one crashed in Corona, which became the Roswell incident. It's easier to bury one than it is 2. And if you don't acknowledge number 2, you don't have to worry about number 1.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of piecing that together in my head. That it does make a lot of sense. And you're right. If you exactly, if you take one, you don't have. Yeah, just mention the one. Interesting and very cool. Very cool theory. I like that.
Yeah. So, and it opens up the door to many other secrets. Okay. Because disclosure to me, as we got about 90 seconds,
Okay.
disclosure to me, it is literally about everything we need to know.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
It goes to even the silliest theories. Okay. Whether Eisenhower met with aliens and traded humans for technology. Okay. Were there aliens at Area 51? What about J-Rod?
Right.
Or Skinny Bob, or the sports model that Bob Lazar talked about. There are a ton of secrets that need to come out. And until those secrets come out, we are literally stuck. Okay? So you can have your disclosure,
Right.
but what kind of disclosure will you have? See, the many, many 2017s, as Nicole Sackich, a brilliant researcher, likes to put it, is the 2017s, they don't care about the past.
No.
They think disclosure is nuts and bolts because that's what they've been trained by since Tom DeLonge and his To the Stars Academy came out.
Right.
This is far from beyond the To the Stars Academy.
Yeah.
All right? So, we're going to go to break.
All right.
We're going to continue with the UFO report and much more with little Timmy James and the UFO report. All right, we're clear.
I love when you do that. You throw those food for thoughts out, and I go,
Well, apparently, according to one listener, I'm a socialist now because I mentioned what could possibly change. Oh. Yeah. I'm a socialist.
Darn you.
I'm a socialist.
What in tarnation?
What in tarnation? I think I've proven many a time I'm not a
Oh,
socialist.
heck no. You don't know Dave very well.
Deborah Rooney, thank you.
What the heck is a hecklefish?
I don't know. That's the I gotta Google that. I have no idea.
We don't know what hecklefish is.
It's a computer-generated goldfish-like character who serves as a sidekick and provides comedic commentary on the YouTube channel The Y-Files. Okay.
I'm too old. I don't know what the hell that stuff is.
If not socialist, who benefits from technology of hidden? Humanity?
Yeah, weird.
Like, are you saying that you wouldn't want to have free energy if the aliens provided it, or if the U.S. government was hiding it and then gave it to the not only the American but the world public?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather pay for it because that's capitalism. Come on.
Really, I know.
If there were, are you telling me that if one of your family members, let's hit home here.
Yeah.
If one of your family members, because we've all been affected by cancer,
100%.
and in that technology, they were able to find a cure, that we're not going to push that through because of socialism?
Yeah, no.
And we need capitalism for that?
Oh. I know. It's called think before you speak.
And no, Canadian healthcare is not free.
No.
It is not free. Okay? We pay a shitload of taxes for it. Who pay for it? The aliens dropped it off with their recovery. That's what we're saying. We don't know.
Yeah.
So you're looking for aha caught you moments here.
Exactly.
Okay? And the point that I'm getting at is, if those craft had that technology, disclosure would be disclosing what it is. Who's paying for it? If you're American, the American taxpayer is paying for it. That's who's paying for it. What about the $3 trillion that never gets
Accounted for?
accounted for in their budgets?
Oh, that's...
Hi, Tokeland. How you doing? Denise is that Corwin? Yeah, Corwin. Welcome to SOR chat. So provide for free. Socialist. Oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
Yeah. I think that maybe you've had too many sips of the Aqua Velva tonight. Okay, go put it back in the medicine cabinet. All right. Yeah. Damn it! I want to pay for it.
You can't give me
Don't
that
make
for
it free for me. You don't make it free for me because that's going to benefit people. That's socialism.
Yeah.
You
bugger.
tax me on that, mother. Oh, man. Yes. I'm okay with $3 trillion going into black budget unaccounted for.
Yeah,
But damn it, if there's something in there that could benefit me, I don't want it. I want to pay for it.
That's right.
That's right, even though you already did.
I'd love it.
Oh, Deborah times 2. Maggie and Kitty, thank you for your socialist super chats. Greatly appreciate that. Actually, those would be capitalist super chats.
That's it.
Thank you. Capitalism is beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes you just can't write it.
Nope, you can't. That's okay. I know.
Here we go at the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, an apparent socialist, living on the radio, off the high hog of my giant radio salary. Yes. Tim James is here for the UFO report.
Oh, yeah.
We're hanging on out. Hey, Tim. Hey, before we bring Tim back on, let us remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. UFO Day today. We're all talking Roswell the first half hour, which somehow got me accused of being a socialist. Right?
Yep.
Damn Canadian socialist.
You bugger.
I know, you and your tax paid for health care. Oh, that's terrible. Terrible. You could go to any hospital in the country,
That's right.
get fixed. That's terrible.
Yeah.
All
You need
right.
to pay for that stuff.
Yeah. Out of your own pocket. Never mind your tax dollars, but you need to pay. All right.
Yeah.
You got the UFO report.
I'm doing this for free, by the way. Just saying.
That's communist.
No, well, that's true too. Oh, okay.
You know, some are more equal than others.
This is right.
That's
This is
right.
right. All right, let's dial her back in. So, anyway, Washington, D.C. last week, Representative Eric Burleson, co-chair of the Congressional Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets, revealed he contacted House Speaker Mike Johnson and Oversight Committee Chair James Comer regarding allegations that the Congressional UAP caucus was blocked from accessing special access programs related to unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAPs. According to Burleson, both Johnson and Comer claimed they don't remember, in quotes, any such obstruction, raising questions about transparency in UFO-related investigations. The allegations stem from a statement by former Aero director Tim Phillips, who suggested GOP leadership restricted the UAP caucus's access to classified special access programs, citing a lack of need to know. Burleson, a vocal advocate for government transparency on UAPs, expressed skepticism about the responses, noting the importance of congressional oversight over programs potentially involving advanced technologies or non-human intelligence. I've reached out to Comer and to Johnson. Neither one of them remember this at all, Burleson stated, highlighting the need for clarity on whether such blockages occurred. The UAP caucus, formed in 2023 to push for declassification of UAP-related records, has faced challenges with accessing sensitive information. Burleson, alongside caucus members like Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna, has been pressing for a select subcommittee to investigate federal responses to UAPs, including alleged legacy programs and undisclosed fundings. The caucus's efforts to build on bipartisan momentum, including the reintroduced Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon Disclosure Act, the UAPDA, in the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act, led by Schumer and Rounds. Burleson's inquiries follow his appointment of former UAP whistleblower David Grush as a special advisor in March of 2025. Grush, whose 2023 congressional testimony alleged government concealment of UAP programs, has been aiding the task force in navigating classified information. Despite these efforts, Burlinson noted ongoing difficulty, stating, "We keep getting hit with a dead end as far as being able to get access to information." He also referenced the Department of Defense and Intelligence Community Inspector General's validation of claims about over-compartmentalization, suggesting some programs evade congressional scrutiny. The response from Johnson and Comer have sparked concerns among UAP transparency advocates, who question whether leadership is fully aware of or forthcoming about restrictions on SAP access. Burleson remains committed to pursuing answers, emphasizing the public's right to know about potential national security implications. He is set to continue discussions with colleagues and plans to leverage the task force platform to probe further despite its limited subpoena power without Comer's approval. As the UAPDA awaits consideration in the NDAA, Burleson's outreach underscores ongoing tensions between congressional investigators and leadership over access to classified UAP data, with implications for public trust and government accountability. This seems to be the common theme so far this week. A lot of, I wouldn't say fighting, but a lot of let's get this done, a little bit of tension going on in the U.S. government about this sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, look, the one thing that Rounds and Schumer tried to do is they just tried to get things going by pushing through the UAP Act in the last couple of budgets.
Right.
The old Gang of Eight, prior to Donald Trump getting in, really hated this subject. They didn't want anything to do with it. And if you looked at their resumes, they were attached to intelligence committees. They were attached to defense and military committees. They're going to do what's good for their constituents.
Yes.
Including Mike Turner. His field of study would be around Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah.
His voters, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Wow.
Roswell crash apparently was flown to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
What?
So there's history of secrets there.
Yes.
Wright-Patterson is like the eastern version of Area 51 without the desert. So why would he want to upset his constituents?
True.
Right?
Right. Why would he?
Why would he? So the fact that those dudes are now gone, and I think Schumer and Rounds are seeing an opening here. I think they're seeing that there is more of that old school thinking of defense first is kind of leaving the building, the guys who've been bought and paid for by the military.
Right.
And now they may have a chance to actually get it in there. Now, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
The research that we need is right there. We need to be hanging on out and discussing this in a public matter. But the question is, what type of transparency will they ask for? If they're going for answers, are they going to be going for answers for everybody, or are they going to be going for answers for just themselves?
Yeah, and therein lies the crux. Exactly. I'm not sure, but I hope it's for everybody, but I'm always hoping it's for everybody, but it always seems to, you get slapped in the face every time. And that's a bit of a pain, but yeah, I hope that this is resurrected and it gets passed and they get it through this time. Third time's a charm.
Very true. What else you got for us?
Well, Mike Rounds is in the news more. Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota, in a recent interview, offered a candid perspective on UAPs that has sparked significant discussion. Addressing the ongoing debate about UFOs and UAPs, Rounds outlined 3 possibilities for their origin. They could be classified U.S. tech, representing a national secret. They could belong to an adversarial nation, posing a national threat. Or, most provocatively, they could be non-human in origin, which he described as potentially the most significant moment in human history. His willingness to entertain the latter possibility without dismissing it outright marks a rare moment of openness from a sitting U.S. senator on the topic, often shrouded in skepticism or secrecy. Rounds' comments come in the context of his advocacy for the UAP Disclosure Act, a bipartisan effort he co-sponsors with their Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. The proposed legislation aims to create an independent review board to collect and evaluate government records on UAPs, prioritizing public disclosure unless national security concerns dictate otherwise. In the interview, Rounds emphasized the need for transparency, drawing parallels to the declassification process for JFK assassination records. He noted that the act includes provisions to retrieve materials of unknown origin, even from private entities, to ensure thorough examination. While he stressed there is no definitive evidence of extraterrestrial life, he acknowledged that some sightings involve technology with physics that current science cannot fully explain, leaving open the possibility of advanced or anomalous origins. The senator's remarks reflect a pragmatic approach balancing national security with public curiosity. He highlighted that some UAP incidents may relate to classified U.S. programs, possibly tied to the development of stealth technology during the Cold War. However, he admitted that not all sightings can be attributed to known human technology. Citing reports of aerial objects displaying capabilities beyond current understanding, Round's refusal to categorically rule out non-human intelligence, combined with the push for structured disclosure, underscores a shift in how elected officials address UFOs. The comments have resonated widely, with observers noting their grounded yet bold framing of a topic long relegated to the fringes of public discourse. Yeah. So I'm looking at this, and he didn't really... I hate to put a pin in the balloon. He didn't really come out and say anything that we don't already know, but he did say something for,
Yes.
you know.
I don't know if you got this one. I want to thank Nicole Sakich for passing this on to me here. Apparently, there's been a historic move in the UFO world as 3 UAP organizations have combined into one policy: legal and grassroots powerhouse.
No.
Because apparently they want to find human technology. My mind went blank there.
That's
for a
all
second.
right.
Yeah. So 3 leading civil society organizations dedicated to advancing greater understanding of unidentified anomalous phenomena announced today their historic combination. The UAP Disclosure Fund, Disclosure Advocacy Group, and UAP Caucus will now engage on a united front with the public, academia, federal, state, and local governments, and the private sector to foster transparency, share policy, and champion scientific inquiry with respect to man-made objects called UAP. Because UFOs are not UAP.
Yes.
The UAP Disclosure Fund is the preeminent civil society organization supporting UAP legislation, conducting scholarship, and working with Congress, the executive branch, scientists, and national security experts in the interest of transparency. So there we are throwing the transparency word again. The Disclosure Advocacy Group comprises multidisciplinary teams of talented attorneys that, among other engagements, represent whistleblowers, draft proposal legislation, and pursue requests under the Freedom of Information Act. That's Danny Sheehan's group. And UAP Caucus is an online technological forward grassroots advocacy platform empowering a broad-based political constituency around the critical needs for UAP transparency. There's that word again. The combined effort will continue under the names of the UAP Disclosure Fund, a 501c3 public charity, and the UAP Disclosure Action Fund, its political arm, which is a 501c4 private foundation. Jordan Flowers, executive director of UAPDF, welcomed the transformative combination and the unity of effort it signifies, saying, "We're excited to scale up our impact by joining forces with Disclosure Advocacy Group and UAP Caucus. With this first-of-its-kind merger of efforts in the UAP space, we have assembled an accomplished team of specialized professionals dedicated to what may be the most important issue of our time, This transaction will augment our ability to engage at all levels of government as well as in court if necessary, and expand our reach to new audiences inspired by the call for greater transparency. Hunter Willis, formerly executive director of the Disclosure Advocacy Group, was named chief counsel of the combined organization. Our attorneys could not be more excited about this collaboration, Hunt stated. We have long understood that it will take a professional, comprehensive, and cross-disciplinary approach to bring about meaningful change. This new organization will be well-positioned as a thought and policy leader on disclosure, and we are eager to get to work. Now, Lester Nair, who's been a guest on this show, guy is brilliant.
Okay.
He's he's founder of UAP Caucus, emphasized the unique stature of this combination. The UAP community has been fractured for too long. Disjointed efforts, misaligned advocacy, and whistleblowers not knowing where to turn for help has thwarted progress. That's going to change. I trust Lester Nair on this one.
Okay. Yeah.
When we've only interviewed him once, but dude was brilliant.
All right.
Absolutely brilliant. What they can gain, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish them all the best. It's going to be, when you get like a super band that comes together.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing here. But I wish them the best. I just don't know if it's going to have any sort of success in the future.
No, I would agree with you. And the thing that stuck out to me is that, I mean, the greater access to government, whatever, like however it was put, being able to access more information from the government, basically, bottom line. I really don't think so. I don't think whatever color you paint it, whatever groups you put together, whatever powerhouses that join up, I don't think you're ever going to get through that gate. I don't care if you're working, if you're, you could be the president's kid on one of those. I'm
The
sorry.
president's kid has tried.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to be the downer. I hope it does work. I hope that there's some success, and I hope that there's some doors open. But to me, it's almost, it's like when two companies merge, and like you say, and this is going to be the greatest thing ever. We're going to do, and you go, okay, that's awesome. There's a lot of excitement there. I'm cautiously optimistic.
3 minutes. What else you got for us?
Well, let me have a look here. Not a ton of stuff left. These were all basically big stories for the day. I know, well, I can bring you up a little tiny one here. So it looks like Schumer and Rounds, like I said earlier, are going to bring back the UAP Disclosure Act. So Senator Mike Rounds, key figure in pushing for the reintroduction of the UAPADA as part of the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act, alongside Chuck Schumer. In a recent News Nation interview with journalist Ross Coulthart, Rounds emphasized his commitment to advancing transparency on UFOs, describing the effort as a marathon to balance public disclosure and national security. He highlighted the need for a structured process to ensure credible information is preserved and reviewed responsibly, without being concealed or ignored. Rounds also addressed concerns about the controversial eminent domain provision from earlier versions, which would allow the government to seize UAP and UFO-related materials from private entities. He acknowledged that this clause raised issue and may be revised, but stressed its intent was to ensure government access to potential materials of unknown origin. While cautious not to speculate on unverified claims, Rounds noted that the unexplained sightings and advanced capabilities reported in UAP incidents warranted serious investigation. He confirmed bipartisan efforts will continue to refine the reintroduce the UAPDA, aiming to establish a centralized UAP records collection at the National Archives and a review board to oversee declassification, modeled after the JFK Assassination Records Act. So they're going at her again.
I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm tired of the word transparency being thrown around like it's, a hot potato.
You should just be more transparent about it, Dave.
Oh, I know. I'm being transparent about transparency right now because
That's transparent.
I
of
don't
you.
think that any of these people actually know the true meaning of transparency. Transparency means everybody gets to know.
Yeah.
Not just your UAP group, okay? Not just your lawyers, not just your government officials.
Yeah.
Everybody has a right to know. Don't hide it behind national security.
What?
There is no threat. Okay? Don't hide it from, the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
The Pandora's box we talked about earlier when I got accused of being a socialist for wanting the answers to what's in there. Damn you, socialist, for wanting to know the UFO secrets.
Oh, terrible, man.
Sometimes I don't understand the newbies who come into our YouTube chat room.
Mm-mm.
I don't get it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But they're welcome.
But the word transparency, I wish it would be eliminated
Yes.
from the UFO vocabulary.
Mhm.
If they want to chase man-made objects, which are UAP,
Mhm.
you go for it.
Absolutely.
Chase those man-made objects all you want. But if you want the UFO story, start listening to the 10%.
Right.
Look for the 10%, not the 90%.
There's a thought.
That's all it is. It seems like such an easy answer, but apparently it's not. You know why? Money.
Oh.
It's all about money. The
Yep.
green, endorsements, ambassadorship,
Oh, yeah.
donations,
Mhm.
and everything in between.
Mhm.
That's what it's about. It's nothing to do with disclosure.
No.
And on that note, thank you for a good report. As we say goodnight to Tim and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Such a socialist
Oh,
for just wanting to have the UFO secrets.
good show.
Who's
Socialist.
going to pay for that?
Good show.
Taxpayers? They're already paying for it.
Yeah, just a bit.
Mm.
Good show, Socialist Dave.
Thanks, Socialist Tim. Is this where we say elbows up?
Ooh,
Oh.
that's illegal.
I hate that term. You know, the worst part about it is 90% of the people
Don't know.
who are using it have no clue what elbows up
I
means.
know.
They've never played hockey before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Brutal. Just brutal. Who do we have on the air tonight? Oh, yeah, Jeff Selver.
Yeah.
I don't get people. Let's go. Yeah. Socialist Out Radio. That's what we're going to be called now. SOR, Socialist Out Radio.
Interesting.
Dan Peters, my suggestion for you tonight would be to stay away from your keyboard. Okay? Stay away from your keyboard because your brains and fingers are not communicating right now. Okay? They're not communicating. We're looking at what you are doing in the chat room, and everybody in the chat room is trying to decipher some sort of code on what you're talking about. Maybe you have the answers to the Fibonacci sequence in there. I don't know, but we're trying to figure it out. And if that isn't the case, do us a favor and leave the poor keyboard alone.
Yeah.
July 2nd, 25.
July 2.
You know what this means?
What does it mean?
2 months till hunting season.
Yeah. September 10th. I already looked at birds.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I'm jacked this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I want the boy to get one so bad.
Oh,
He got to get one.
oh yeah.
With his shot, oh, dude, we got to take him out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Do you know I said hi to Paul?
Apparently, I'm a Nazoo. What the hell is a Nazoo? You Nazoo. Is it because I have nasal issues? Apparently, that's the new term for
Exactly.
nasal issues. You're getting called a Nazoo.
Oh, this is a joke. I love it. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, we saw that. Oh. Instead of trolls, we should just start calling them aqua velva drinkers.
What? All of a sudden, you sober up, Dan? Did you get the soldering iron out and just reconnect the two wires?
No kidding.
What?
Batteries are running low.
Oh, man. Look at Joe.
I know.
Holy shit, he put a sentence together. Oh.
Golf clap.
Well, Dan, I'm going to say this. What do you expect when you last show came in here, that you were here, you came in and you lied to the audience saying that I insult veterans?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the dipshit who said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what do you expect? No, Dan, not best. You're not allowed to third person yourself. Your typing's too fucking bad for that. Okay?
Dan, not best. Oh.
Dan, best. Dan, not best.
I type with elbows. Oh, it's the comedy club.
I like this Denise Corwin. She's chiming in just perfectly here.
I know, right?
Yeah. Let's give a few claps to Denise Corwin.
We love you, Denise.
First time in the chat room, and she's throwing them down hard.
That a girl. He types like a cameraman talks.
Oh,
You.
yes. Oh.
No.
If he's Canadian, he's definitely acted like he's from Toronto
Yeah, oh,
or
no question.
downtown Vancouver.
Yeah.
Maybe Nanaimo.
Yeah. Oh, the Surrey of the island. Sorry, people that live in Nanaimo.
Why? I used to live in Nanaimo.
Oh man,
They got good Nanaimo bars.
yes they do.
Non-gluten or gluten.
No,
with gluten.
full of gluten.
Yeah, with gluten.
Yeah, exactly.
Pearl 8520, how you doing? What you've stumbled in on is we're just post-show here. And our resident troll, Dan Peters, who has accused me of heinous things like disliking veterans, has drank too much of Grandpa's Blue Stratos
Oh man.
from the liquor cabinet, which we call the medicine cabinet in the bathroom. And he's just trying to, he has troubles connecting the fingers to the brain, and his typing doesn't work too well. So we're just having a little fun with old Danny boy here. See, the one thing,
Joe. Oh, I love you, Joe. That's awesome.
J Truth Seeker, you forgot to put British Columbia, Canada behind Victoria and Vancouver. I'm just joking.
No, don't.
I was just joking.
I know you were. Didn't say you weren't.
You said no, don't.
Don't put the frickin' Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Totally sounds like a Tony or Frank.
Right?
You what, Alberta? No, I'm in British Columbia. If you've listened to this show and you know all about me, about how rude I am and how socialist I am and how anti-veteran I am, you would know that I live in the central part of British Columbia. But since you don't listen that often and you're just making stuff up about me not liking veterans, about being a socialist, even though that wasn't you, and other comments, the only one you really got right is I'm fat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, no.
hey, Dave, you're fat. Oh, my God.
Hey, Tim, you're bald. What?
Oh, my God, Dave.
I can't do this.
Yes, Dan, I'll be honest with you. I have a long beard to hide my second chin.
That's
I do. All right?
Oh. The scary part about it is if he could probably harness his IQ enough to maybe toast a marshmallow lightly by, I don't know how to spell.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm having too much fun here.
I know.
This has to stop.
I know, right? Thanks, Skip to Baloo.
That's so much easier to read.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, you mean when they spell proper words?
No,
Sorry.
no, I meant the font.
Yes, it is.
U.S. Army 9K. Well, thank you for your service, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
100%.
We appreciate that. You will notice there is no sarcasm
Not at
and
all.
no hatred towards your service in the United States Army.
Not at all.
We love you for it. Thank you for doing that. Okay?
Now, outside of that.
Now, outside of that, what's with being a dick?
Yeah, just
Like,
lighten
be
up.
honest.
Butt
Be honest. Did you run out of toilet paper today?
Something.
Do you have a bad case of bum butter that is just not feeling very well right now?
God.
Man, I hate a bad case of bum butter.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Bum butter.
After 50, it gets bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe Dan should quit drinking. Maybe that'd be a start. First thing is just admitting you've got a problem, man.
What's the chances? Well, U.S., why would he use the term lorry? That's a British term.
He's
Are
confused.
you hiding your identity, Dan? Is that what you're doing?
Could it be somebody else?
Could it be?
Dun, dun,
Could it be?
dun.
FU3? There's only two of us here, Dan.
1, 2. You can do it.
Skip to my Lou. I don't think this troll is after you. This troll is more after us.
Oh, I didn't see.
Look at Nicole. I bet he smells like cat pee.
Does your mom's basement not have lights? Turn them on so you can see your keyboard, right? Like, yeah. Oh, he's trying not to. He's got to type quietly because you probably get to Norman. Get to bed.
Yes, mother.
Dan, is that you? Get to bed. I don't care if you're in the army. Get to bed. You're how old? Oh, my goodness. Wait till your dad gets home. Your last name isn't really Peters.
It's pee.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
He's counting Dave's beard as a third person. Balance those meds. Balance the meds.
I got hit on at my daytime job today.
Shut up.
I did.
Was he a nice guy?
No, it was a lady.
Oh, just sorry.
It was a lady.
Oh, there's
Yeah, I
anything
got
wrong.
hit on.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I got the. So are you single? Are you taken?
From
And I was like, "Are you looking at me?" Like I'm just taking it all in, right? 'Cause,
yeah.
Like honestly, I'm not attractive. I'm not. If I got a face for radio, okay.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I get
Yeah,
it.
but you're older than me.
Hey, it's just not enough.
See? You're older than me. Oh, Dan is pissed.
Well, we know he's pissed.
Better 3U. But
Whatever.
anyways, yeah, I got hit on.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's all. Well, it's flattering.
it is. And you know what? She had a real pretty smile. She did. She had a real happy smile. Not. No, I shouldn't say. It was pretty because she had a happy smile.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. I said, yes, I am taken happily.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
You know. It's just
What
weird.
is he, Yoda now? Better you are.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that because I'm fat.
Yeah. And you're a socialist.
And I'm a socialist.
And you don't like veterans.
I don't like veterans. Yeah.
Damn you, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Thanks, Yoda.
That's exactly what happened, Joe. Dave looks behind him, turns around, and says, "You talking to me?"
Right?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I don't know what that word is. Few Wom 6 cab.
Oh, wow. You just need to go lay down, dude. Seriously. Maybe take a nap.
Christine Lynn, how are you?
Hello, Christine Lynn.
We've met her.
I know.
Yeah.
I partied with her.
You know what's really weird is when she runs up to everybody like strangers and, "Hi, I'm Christine Lynn, and you are?"
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm Christine Lynn." "Oh, there's a person over there. I'm Christine Lynn. Who are you?" No, I'm teasing. I'm
Yes.
completely teasing right now.
She is
Wonderful.
absolutely wonderful.
Wonderful
I
person.
loved hanging out with her.
Wonderful person.
We didn't get to hang out as much as I think we all wanted to, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Dan Tai Mo HL.
Oh, geez, dude. Wait.
Dan, did you mix prescriptions again?
Like, seriously, that's ridiculous. What are you doing, man?
I don't know.
Damn them all to hell. I don't know. It's like, what are we playing?
Apparently it's
Boggle?
Wheel of Fortune.
I guess so. Hi,
Can
Pat.
hey Dad, can I buy a vowel?
Do-do-do-do-do-ding. Oh, my goodness.
I'd like an A, please.
Hello, I'd like an A. Yes, and Tim Mothman. That was fun.
Yep.
We need to hang out.
People don't understand the power of Tim Mothman's goatee.
Hell no.
Yeah. I tugged it. A few times. And I'm not ashamed to say it.
Heard Tim's tugged it too.
Yep, he was tugging it right there, right for the public.
He's a public tugger.
He tugged it to the left, tugged it to the right, or tugged it right down the middle.
Joe, God, it just comes.
Hold on, I can't see. I got to do this first. Hold on.
Words are hard. Oh, Jesus.
Hold on. What was the last one? Exist, you dumb.
Sounds like 27 syllables. Oh, whatever. You loved it, Dave. Words. That is the correct spelling, Tim Mothman. Thank you.
You know, the audio levels on Spreaker were absolutely perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. You know what I have upstairs? What are you going to have for a bedtime snack? Fresh nectarine.
Oh, yeah.
I buy the hard ones.
Me too.
Yeah, like I want the ones that are damn near going to break my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I like peaches, but I can't eat the skin, man. It's like,
Oh, peach skin.
I can't do her.
There's only certain peaches that are good to eat.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Otherwise, I'm a nectarine guy.
Yeah, me too. 100%.
Yep.
What?
I don't think it's Carl trying to communicate. I fight curtailed cutthroat. Well, you're doing a terrible friggin' job at it right now, Dad.
Doritos and Mountain Dew. All right, Nicole, I'm coming over.
No, Dan's the kind of guy who gets the Western Family Mountain Dew.
Oh. 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 What is it?
Bull Hesga, our invasion.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, too much.
Okay, let's figure it out. Is it Blue Stratos, Aqua Velva, High Karate, or Old Spice, or Brute 33 that Dan's been drinking?
Could be pine sol too. You never know. We'll get Taco Bell. I want to go to Nicole's house. Can I go?
If there's Taco Bell, we're gonna crash that
we're
house.
flying.
We're gonna crash that house. Modi Mogul votes High Karate.
Okay.
Joe's pissed off because we were talking shit about Old Spice.
Hey,
I will say this, though. Over the last few years, Old Spice has really picked up their advertising game.
yeah.
I would use Old Spice only because of their advertising game.
Is that what? Velvet whiskey?
Mothman votes for Pine Sol. Oh, Baja Blast. How I love thee.
Undead Jed pulls one out of and knocks her out of the park. Oh, look at Nicole's already making plans. SOR 2026.
Yeah.
Where are we going, Nicole?
Remember when aftershaves and colognes used to come in like really cool bottles, like race cars and
Yeah.
trains?
Yep. Yep.
I miss those days.
Well, those were, wasn't that Avon and stuff like that too that used to
Yeah.
sell all those different whatevers?
Yeah, I think so. I don't care where we go next year for the SOR party,
Yeah.
as long as there's a casino, as long as there is a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Nearby.
There's got to be a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Well,
Couldn't find a Taco Bell in Reno. Let me tell you that.
oh, is that right? Blasphemous.
Was blasphemous.
I smell like Old Spice now.
Balanced, dumbass. You know what it reminds me of? Remember Joe Flaherty and Happy Gilmore?
Yes.
You're fat, dumbass. Hey, Shooter, you want to go to Red Lobster? I thought we were friends, Shooter. Oh, God, I can't wait for Happy Gilmore 2 to come out.
No kidding. Bob Barker going to be in it? No.
No. No Bob Barker, no Carl Weathers.
Yeah, no. Taco Bell Las Vegas?
Yeah.
That's where we're going. We're doing her?
Okay.
Are we staying at the Orleans?
No, we're not letting Merle pick the hotel. No offense. We love Merle.
Absolutely.
But Merle's no longer allowed to book hotels.
I believe in Merle Henry.
I do too, but I don't believe in his hotel picking.
No.
Carl Weathers played for the BC Lions in the CFL.
He most certainly did.
Yes, he did. SOR should go to Vancouver, BC next year. Jay Truthseeker, we're in BC. I think we know where BC is. I love Jay Truthseeker.
Me too. He's
such
just
a nice
being
guy.
very thorough.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
He's
a
very
super cool
kind.
guy.
He's a very kind man. He really is.
He is.
He really is. I'm still going to give him a hard time for the Vancouver, BC thing.
Sure.
To a comment to us when we're in BC. So he does deserve that.
Well, we could have thought of Vancouver, Washington, maybe. Maybe he's just clarifying.
Apparently, layerv is a word.
Is he playing Scrabble? Is he reading the Scrabble tiles? That's what he's doing.
The problem is the letters are upside down, but the N still looks like an N.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what would be entertaining is watching Dan write the letter Z. Not print it, write it.
Write it?
Yes. Spell Phil Rizzuto for us, please. You know what? I may have Jay Truthseeker. I may have some news for you and all of you for coming up here the next month or two. I may have some news, and it may lead to an SOR party up here in the Caribou. I'll leave it at that for right now.
Now, nobody start making plans.
Not just yet. Z is not dead. Z is the end of the alphabet.
Is he having a stroke? Does anybody know this guy or where he lives? Like maybe we call a medic or something. Like I'm dead serious. Hey Dan, you okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. Jesus,
That's terrible.
I know, and I've had friends of mine that have had strokes, and it sucks. But I just can't figure it out.
You know what? I woke up one morning with my face paralyzed.
Oh, did you?
With Bell's palsy?
Yeah.
That's a scary thing, man.
Yeah.
Totally scary thing.
You betcha.
Yeah. Woke up and my right side of my face was all leaning down. Like I honestly thought I had a stroke.
Well, I know that I've had, like, I shouldn't say I know I had the beginnings of it, and it was like, oh, and I got up, same thing, got up in the morning, and my face was kind of, and then
I was on
came back up. I was like,
I was on prednisone, like a heavy dose of prednisone, steroids, and then the doctors will tell you you can do nothing for like a couple weeks.
yeah,
And it knocks the living hell out of you to the point where if you had it bad like I did, you walk to the bathroom. Like I would go from my couch to my bathroom, maybe 45 feet.
yeah.
And this, I'm not saying this to be gross, but I would actually have to sit down because I would fall asleep.
Oh,
If I stood up, I would have fell
yeah,
over.
exactly. I understand.
It
Wow.
beat me that bad.
Well, my buddy Gary had it when we were working down in the city, and he was off for probably over 2 weeks. Wasn't allowed to do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing to mess with. I still have no feeling right in my cheek, right here. That's from, like, it's paralyzed.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What's it? Don't do back alley Botox, boys. Yeah, I want to put poison into my face.
Yeah, if everything pans out, we might do an SOR party up here at the Caribou.
That'd be all right.
Not at my house, though. At a
Dave's
different
got
place.
extra rooms.
I think Jay Truthseeker has a couch he can sleep on, though. Is there Jay Truthseeker? Be honest. Is there some romance in the air here?
Yeah. What's going on?
You got to fill us in here. This is Entertainment Tonight here.
Come on.
We need to know. This is the Caribou dating game.
That's right. We
Huh?
won't say names. We just want to know what's going on,
Yeah,
buddy.
come
Good
on,
for
Jay.
you.
Come on, Jay.
Come on.
Yeah, everybody go get your passports now.
Oh, I think Jay Truthseeker's playing shy.
Come on, Jay Truthseeker. Don't play shy.
We saw the photo.
We saw the photo. You and that lovely lady.
Mhm.
I'm not going to mention her name,
No,
but she is a sweetheart.
she is.
Absolutely.
Great supporter of this show.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. Was love in the air? Oh, look who's here.
Who?
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, not saying anything.
Not saying anything. Now we shut up on the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Where did Jay Truth? There he is. Oh, he's just laughing now.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
Oh, he's blushing.
I know he is. I
He's
can
blushing. A little bit of crush there.
tell. Good man.
Yep.
Happy for you, dude.
We're not going to say who it was, but she
No.
is a lovely person.
Yes, I have met her.
Me too.
That's right.
She's lovely. Tall, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm 6'8". No.
No, you're 68.
But we'll be here the rest of the evening.
Yes, correct. It was just as a meeting of friends. I know it was you, Jennifer Beveridge. We were trying to cover your name up here.
Jeez.
We were trying to cover it up. Jennifer Beveridge, she's so nice.
Yes, she is.
She's a sweetheart.
Dave, it was me. We're trying to be all on the down low so that we're not.
Yeah, giving up secrets here. She blows her own cover.
Yeah. Well, it's out in the open now.
She goes,
Jennifer
I'm not
Beveridge.
shy. Marie Kay, how are you?
She interesting. Yes, they know it was us.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad for you two crazy kids.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer Beveridge, did he at least buy the ice cream? Oh, there's Kimberly Burgess now.
What?
Yes, love me Kimberly Burgess.
Yeah.
She is a sweetheart.
Yes.
Yes. And I know, you know what I noticed about Kimberly Burgess every time I've seen her? I've seen her like 3-4 times now. She's always smiling.
Well, that's nice.
I love that about her. Love that about her. She's always smiling. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. Sleep apnea, insomnia is worse. Marie, have you tried a CPAP machine?
Let us tell you.
Let me tell you, you will have great results your first night.
Yeah, pretty dang close.
Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of beautiful, Jennifer Beveridge.
What did she say?
She says, we went for a walk and reminisced about the changes of the city.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, they also had a ghost with them, too. Well, that's
Wow, you
nice.
brought a third wheel with you?
Oh, Kimberly saying it's evil thoughts. That's why she smiles. I don't
Ooh.
believe you. I don't believe you, you salty, salty person.
Yes.
Look Look at the love now. Jennifer Beveridge, it was a really good meeting we had. Yes, we did.
That's awesome.
Oh, my papa's ghost was with us. That's cool.
Right on.
My grandfather used to come to me. I haven't seen him in years. My other grandpa came to me once.
Mm-hmm.
My other grandma who passed, I had only seen her once, and that was the day I found out my nephew passed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, Deb's singing.
Uh-huh.
Well,
What do we do now?
well, I'm going to pack up and,
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Dan bored the hell out of me.
yeah, what the hell? No, that's too bad. In all seriousness, I hope he's all right because
I do hope he's all right.
that's not making sense. I'm not going to insult. Not that I haven't already, but that's just. There's always one Canadian nitwit.
Look at Lex. Dan can't feel the love tonight, Deb. Oh no. Your humidifier's broken on your CPAP, Marie. Oh no. When I went to Vegas, I forgot my humidifier.
Yeah, the whole piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
So guess who didn't sleep with his CPAP?
You were okay with it though.
Yeah, I was all right. I'm not being a smartass.
I'm way worse than
Yeah,
you.
you are. You are.
Yeah.
So I forfeited it over because we both have the same style machines.
If SOR had a caribou get together, it would likely be in the second or third weekend of September 2026.
Yeah.
And when you do not see Tim and I there, it's because we're out hunting.
Yeah. We'll meet you back later.
Yeah, we'll meet up with you guys later, but first,
And we're all eating grouse tonight.
that's right. And maybe some deer. Oh, you never know.
You got her.
You never know. What the hell am I doing?
I don't know, man. Look at Jay Trueseeker. He's all in. He's going to be the president of the Caribou SOR fan party.
Jay Trueseeker, I'll tell you what. You need an SOR tattoo. We should go get an owl.
Yeah. We could.
We got a pretty badass logo.
Yeah. I even made it better the other day, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't make it better. I just jacked it up and made it 3-dimensional, and
It does look good.
it's pretty sharp. I gotta say.
It looks very sharp.
I sent it to Nicole Sackett. We were texting during the show.
Uh-huh. Did she like it? Did Nicole Sackett like it?
Yes, she said she did.
Yeah. She was just giving you FaceTime right now.
Yeah, she was just
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, it's really good." God, is he ever
She's like,
stupid?
she's like, that's pretty good for a 98-year-old drawing.
Deb, he's picking on me again.
Oh my goodness! And here I was hoping to get to bed by 12:45. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, it is for me.
Oh,
What time is it? We've been yammering away, man.
I don't know. It's like 12:33.
Okay, so yeah.
You're not even working tomorrow.
No, I know, but I've been up since 5.
So, what's another 10 minutes?
Oh, 10 minutes. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Remember the night I had to do the show and then wake up early to fly to Vegas with you?
Oh, yeah, hang on. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Jerk. You're such a jerk.
Yeah, but you remember who fell asleep on the drive down?
I totally fell asleep.
That's
on the way
awesome.
down.
I knew you were bagged anyway.
And for the final comment to be shown on the screen tonight, Dan is best.
If you say so.
There you go, Dan. Thank you for the entertainment. Good luck with your sobering up in the morning. Remember, Powerade is the best cure for a hangover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And ice cream.
Yeah. And I actually honestly hope you're okay, because you are not making sense, dude.
I do believe that. No, you can't make another comment like Big Lose and lose it just like that after Dan is best.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't do that. Don't hurt yourself. Blue Cruise. Will the SOR Caribou get-together party include free football-sized Chipotle burrito to tie us over until you return from the hunt? Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, or gluten-free Nanaimo bars?
They're
no.
still good.
No, they're not.
No, they were good.
They were not.
That's what you pigged out on out here. Those were gluten-free, dude.
You're not supposed to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, they're full of gluten.
You bastards. I don't care.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
don't care. I just like bugging your wife.
I know.
I love your wife.
I know you do.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She is.
She really is. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you to Deborah Rooney with a hat trick, Maggie and Kitty Caddywhack for the super chats tonight. Tomorrow night on the show, who? James Subisky is going to join us. Bigfoot, UFOs, and portals. Oh, if that doesn't sound sexy hot right there,
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm.
Sakich may have to shave her legs for this one. She may.
Nice.
All right. Dan, if you can make it tomorrow, we promise you, absolutely promise you, that this will continue tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah. Good night, Tim.
good night, Dave.
Good night, SOR.
Good night, everybody. Night, Dan.
Good night, Dan.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.